Wunderbar. Wunderbar. Oh, misty high of the mountain below. Welcome back, Carthrick. How are you, good sir?
I'm good.
You're good. You're good. You're set.
Yes, I have whiskey and I have water.
Are they in the same glass?
I mean, technically, if you really want to get super specific, yes, it is whiskey on the rocks.
Oh, yes. So one of them might be frozen water then. Okay, cool. Hi, Karth. So we're doing the one where Scribe misunderstood things and we started half an hour late, 40 minutes late for Tribe Talks.
It's all right. It's all right.
These things happen. These things happen. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another wonderful episode of Tribe Talks, where we are a man down. But much like the single man with a only the lonely bollock, we can still get it up and we can still have a really good time. So those are words to live by. How you doing today, Carl? You okay, buddy?
I'm doing well. Just getting out of a hike with the in-laws.
Ah, the trusty hike with the in-laws. And instead, you're stuck here drinking whiskey and talking to me about Star Wars. Ah, Karth, the burden is heavy.
Yeah, I know.
The burden is heavy.
It's a real struggle, I'm not going to lie.
I'm trying to imagine how that conversation went. You're like, guys, I would have loved to have had this hike.
Yeah, and it's a little it's not bad today. It's supposed to get hotter over the rest of the weekend or the week going into the week, but it's supposed to be, what's the high for today? It's supposed to be a high of 91.
That sounds hot.
Monday is supposed to be 98. Tuesday 101. It's like, you know what I don't want to do in the middle of the afternoon?
Go for a hike. Well, yeah, whose bright idea was hiking in really hot weather? I hope they took lots of water.
I have no idea. It was my mother-in-law's idea.
I see.
She likes to go for walks a lot, so.
Yeah, I mean that tracks. I enjoy a good walk as much as the next individual, but you know, it's one thing to go for a walk on a crisp summer's evening, and another thing to hike through the sweltering heat in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah, pretty much where I'm at with that. It's like, yeah, I get where your head's at, but no, thank you. No.
Unless it's a very, very short hike down the road to the pub.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to pass on that one.
That's my hiking. It's downtown. You go from winery to winery, which are like, door to door.
If they could just get you like a wheelchair to cart you between each winery.
If they could just put little portals through each one, so I don't have to go outside to walk through them, I would be happier.
You need a plaza with a table in the middle, and all of the wineries just come to you. And they're like, hello, Carthrick, sir.
See, at that point, if I'm going that far, we're going to drop the winery and we're going to do whiskey tastings, and they're going to still all just come to me.
I like this is a good theme. This is a good theme.
Yeah,
88 degrees Fahrenheit is 31 degrees Celsius. Yeah, that's hot, Ryrock. I mean, yeah, it's not pleasant. It's it feels like it's about 30 degrees right now, but my computer tells me it's 19. It's 19 going on 99. At least it feels like.
Well,
it's just close.
Small room, not a lot of
small room,
airflow.
Big PC, lots of lights, dual monitor setup, beautiful camera to look at my face. It's a hard life being a streamer, I tell you. It's a hard life. Also, Carthrick, I don't know if you knew, but I put out like 75 videos in the last 2 days.
I know there was a little dash between that. There was somewhere between 5 to 7 videos in the last like 3 days. But yeah, hey.
Semantics, Garth.
It's still probably the most content you've dropped in the last like month. So
well, it is in the last. Well, I would say since Conquest, but this last Conquest, I was a lazy bitch. I was so unenthused about doing Conquest videos this time around. I just could not be arsed. So I got them out. Like, I think I got my Sector 5 video out on the last day of the first Conquest, and normally I've got it out by like day 2 or 3. So it's like, I just can't be bothered.
It was a hard one to be excited about.
There was nothing fun there.
To be honest, though, that's where this whole thing kind of feels like I don't have a problem with pirates being a focal point of the game right now.
Yeah.
But man alive, it is not like, you know, the most exciting content to chase after right now. It's just like, man, these characters I've seen like once, I better unlock them, or, you know, characters we have to go back 10 years to remember seeing.
This character that randomly showed up for 30 seconds. 30 seconds is actually very generous. A couple of seconds worth of cameo in The Force Awakens. You're like, he's a leader of the pirates, and you're like, who?
Yeah, just one of those things. At least the back half of the pirates is, you know, newer and more readily available in our minds. But
I'm more excited about the Skelly crew marquees than I am Ithano. I don't know who kicks it. I'm sorry. I know people love clones. They love clones. I know you guys love clones. But Kix to me is a clone. And the thing about clones is they're clones, guys. All right? They're all the same. They're literally the same. Genetically identical.
Yeah, but they all end up with slightly different professions. That's all. That's all we're focusing in on.
It's just a multiverse of clones where one guy takes a different job.
Yeah. But one guy turns into a pirate, and that's unique and interesting.
From what I gather, he's frozen in carbonite or something, and then gets thawed out decades later.
He gets. There's all these weird, because clones, you know, have that genetic thing in them that makes them age faster. So that way, they basically are 20-year-old men by the time they're 10 years old, practically speaking. Mm-hmm. Hence why, technically speaking, Omega is older than all of the other Bad Batch members, because she was an early clone. So at 13, she's like 3 years older than everyone else.
Which is kind of weird. She's the mommy daughter of the group.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where it's like they have to get these people, you know, somehow to be able to survive long enough. So it's always like some sort of cryogenics thing where it's like, they were frozen in carbonite for 30 years, and that's how they can look 50
Hear
years
me
after
out.
they were born.
The world between worlds. They're just going to pull them out and then bop them at the end of Rise of Skywalker. And booyah, you've got Captain Rex just chilling there for some reason.
Yeah, for some reason.
Well, I mean, Temuera Morrison says he wants to play Captain Rex. In live action,
and he also wants to bring back Boba Fett season 2, and he's just been really pissy with Disney that they haven't done anything with his character.
To be fair, I would be pissy if I was Boba Fett and they did that to my character. I would be pissed at Disney as well, and I would want a second season. You know why? I get a fuckload of money because they'd be paying me to act in a new season of Boba Fett.
Well, and it's not even like that. Like, his biggest issue with it was like he understood why a large portion of his show had to be involved with Mando.
Yeah.
But he just like they did so much setup for it and then just like threw it out the window because you're like, well, it didn't perform as well as we wanted to. It's like, yeah, because you turned an entire show about Boba Fett into Mandalorian season 3 or 2.5.
Yeah.
Like,
and then they turned Mandalorian season 3 into Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And yeah. And you know, I still liked parts of season 3 of Mando, but it felt like that was Bo-Katan's show more than it was Mando's.
Yeah, it's like it's the unfortunate part of like when they went down cameo lane in the show, and they started like integrating
Jack Black and Lizzo. What's that? What was that about? I was like,
I want to know how much that went into that one episode, because that if you take that episode out in totality from the show, no impact. I mean, it does have one impact, right? The only reason it's a side quest, right?
Yeah.
The only reason that we had that entire episode was because Bo-Katan got ousted from her group, her clan, and so basically basically getting rid of the contract from the people that they hired on, they would come back and be with her, and so that's why we had to go do that. And it's like, yeah, but you could have done something narratively different as a way to deal with this, and they're just like, nah, we like this simple approach. It's just like, hey man, it's a TV show with like 8 episodes. Maybe a fetch question take an entire episode. You know, it's fine when it's the Bad Batch because you have like, you know, 18 episodes and they're 20 minutes. But when it's a whole 45-minute episode of like Jack Black, Lizzo, and you know, old
Christopher
Clone
Lloyd,
old Clone Wars assets.
Yeah.
Know, it's like,
the funny thing is I get where they were trying to go with it. They were like, hey, famous people in our show, right?
Yeah.
And I actually like Jack Black. Okay, I like him. I like Tenacious D. I think he's a funny guy. However, I think that episode would have probably been none the worse, and probably maybe even potentially better if it just didn't have Lizzo and Jack Black playing those characters. If they were just random actors, think the episode would perform better or just the same.
Yeah, like, the whole Christopher Lloyd thing, he actually fit well enough into
he was good. Yeah.
What the the plot twist that was around his character and everything else that came down to it. But man alive, like those two, it's like you could have done anybody else and it would have been a better casting choice, because I think for a lot of people it was too jarring to see somebody that that well with a high notoriety of being just some random planet governor. Just like,
yeah, Kung Fu Panda over here is leading a planet.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of where your brain goes. You're waiting for Jack Black to do Jack Black things in a Star Wars film, and I'm like, I'm not saying he's incapable of it. I'm just saying it disrupts the flow of what's going on there. It's like he's just I don't think I've ever seen Jack Black in like an action film, and you can't tell me Minecraft counts. Okay, if you tell me
I've never seen. I can't say I've never played Minecraft, but I don't think spending 20 minutes to play with my little brother counts as me playing Minecraft. That's the extent of
action. That's all I'm gonna say.
I didn't know. I think I got killed by some weird spider thing. That's the extent of my knowledge of Minecraft. I was jumping around, weird spider thing bit me. I died. I was like, okay, I guess I'm dead.
Well, that's cool. Anyways, I'm gonna go play a different game.
Oh, anyways, I'm gonna go drink now.
I need to see some tits. Let's play The Witcher 3.
What do you mean I want to see some tits? Yeah, show me Geralt's tits right now. That guy is stacked.
It is true.
Oh my god. Yeah, so Minecraft for me is a big no-no. What were we talking about? Probably something remotely Galaxy of Heroes related.
We were going down the rabbit hole of the TV shows, but...
Oh yeah, Pirates. That's where they started off, wasn't it?
Pirates,
yeah.
Yes,
so
Pirates.
Ultimately, Pirates is a tough sell, and I've laid my cards out here already earlier. You probably haven't seen it because it's on an episode of McMull 2's YouTube series, but I think Hondo is going to be the only R9 we get for this set. I think it's all going to be Relic 3 to 7 for the rest of it.
Well, the fact that they in the in-game, I thought on the post for Athano, he was supposed to be an R5 requirement, but in-game he's R3, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, if they're doing a marquee this far out as R3, I don't think it'll have very steep requirements. I think they will be relatively friendly, and then the raid will be the motivating factor to take them to higher relics.
I mean, genuinely, I spoke to Meathead about this, and I was not about relic levels in particular. I was just giving him some feedback on pirates, and I was like, listen, dude, if you want people to get on board with GL Hondo, there is no way you're going to get away with 6 marquees, 3 relic 9s. You're going to have to make this shit real dirt cheap to get. You can still have all the marquees. That's fine. Have the marquees.
Well, yeah, but yeah, the marquees are still a massive hurdle.
It is a massive hurdle, but don't be shoving a bunch of R9s down our throat. Like, I understand Hondo, sure, it's a GL Hondo at Relic 9. So I think, like, I'm not saying CG listens to a word I say, but that was my feedback to him, unsolicited feedback to Meathead, was like, if you want to go down this route, people are not particularly enthused about pirates. You want people to get him, like, well, especially after GL Ahsoka. Yeah. Yeah,
that Meathead and I were having a conversation about that a couple of days ago, and we were doing...
Garth, I finished my wine. Would it be sinful of me to just pour whiskey into my empty wine glass?
I mean, if you can dab out whatever's left in the bottom of it, or if you have a whiskey that was finished in, like, a wine cask, then it would be fine.
Let's pretend like it was, because I'm not going downstairs.
I've had some whiskeys that are finished like that, and they are pretty tasty.
All right, well, you better be saving me some of that nice whiskey, Carl. That's what I'm saying.
I'll have to go get it again because I drank that one.
All right, just buy more whiskey when I'm coming over. That's fine.
I got you. I got you. But yeah, we were talking about that kind of. He asked me how I felt, like how I would rank them.
Sure.
And Ahsoka ranked quite low.
Yeah, I would say that's rightfully so. It's not that she's bad, it's just she's really expensive compared to all the other GLs.
Yeah, that's really what it came down to. I told him, like, her main flaws are twofold. One, she is 1,000% reliant on Ezra. Without her, she is trash. Mm-hmm. She is too easy to deal with without Ezra on the battlefield. That being said, the other side of the coin is that Ezra performs better in other teams than with her,
especially in threes. Especially in threes.
And it'll be a little lackluster now because of the current support crons really gonna nullify everything. That's a
Queen Amidala right now is just fucking destroying.
That's an I win button right now. Like
it is a lot of fun though.
Left support cron equals I win against whatever we're fighting.
I don't know. Does it work against Slacker? I doubt it, right? Slacker FDC Ray?
It's going to be harder versus Slacker because in 5s, Queen...
No, I mean in 3s.
So if they don't have Hux, it can work, but you are like on a razor-thin edge because the shock is unavoidable.
Unresistible and undispellable.
Yeah, so the issue is that Queenie goes in, she uses her AoE, she gets all the debuffs out right away, pushes cooldowns back, which I think she can do even if Rey is there. And then you get we pray that basically Slacker starts with a poke versus the Queen and not the swipe, because if it starts with the swipe, then the poke will come and cleanse all your buffs before
the shock. Okay.
The
shock will be turn 1 anyway, won't it? So it'll just stop you gaining heal over time afterwards, right?
You lose all your damage multipliers, and so you have like the one brief moment to lay in the nuke, and if it goes the other way around, it goes really quickly. But the other side of the coin is that you have to make sure that Kenobi is your slowest, because you can't kill anybody until everyone on your team has taken a turn.
I was thinking about this, Karth, and call me crazy. Is there actually some common sense in right now modding for 3v3 and modding your Slacker slow?
No.
No? You don't think it makes sense for, like, if you let the JMK go first and he's like, let me put damage immunity and pass foresight, and then you poke and you cleanse all the foresight so that when Rey does her first special afterwards, it's going to deal massive damage. No, wait a minute, that's not going to work anyway.
can't miss.
It can't miss, can it not?
No,
Oh,
her second
wait.
special can't.
No, yeah, no, yeah. They're
miss.
going to be in damage immunity, so they're not going to take it. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
There was something I was
No,
thinking about it. I'll have to remember it later. It was something,
Yeah.
and I can't remember what it is.
No, so the. Yeah, Ray can't be. No, it's really hard.
I'm never starting with JMK middle ever again in a Ray Slacker battle. Not doing it. Because, like, when I faced that R9 triple threat, the AoE damage from Ray, doing like 180,000 points of damage AoE, you'd eat 2 of those and you're dead. So I want... And she uses it first turn. So I want to have at least Cat in damage immunity so she doesn't eat that damage right at the start. So I'm not going to use the first special first turn anymore. I'm just going to use the DI. I'm just like, nope, fuck it. I'll rather take a slightly slower ult.
Yeah, well, and even then, like, you're not going to do anything with it until everyone on your team has moved. But that's the reason why Mace is actually a really crappy 5th to take, because
5th or
Mace...
3rd?
Sorry, 3rd.
Okay.
Because he doesn't... Since his taunt gets converted to the...
They can ignore it, right?
No, they can't ignore it. It's just that the way it works is basically if he gets cleansed at the right mechanical interaction, the taunt reapplying doesn't take effect. And so, like JMK, if you take away his taunt, but you don't land buff immunity, he gets... Not JMK, Kenobi, GK. If you take away his buff, his taunt, and he doesn't have buff immunity, he reapplies.
Yeah, because he's got bonus protection, right, or some shit.
But if that mechanic happens multiple turns with Mace, like you cleanse, reapply, get cleansed again in the same turn, then you don't reapply anything because it's limited to once a turn, or at least mechanically that's how it plays out.
Okay.
So Mace ends up being tauntless, which means Cat winds up being a target, which is like you'll watch it fall apart really, really fast.
So do you just take GK or do you take 5s?
GK, because if you're gonna take the Hodocron, the GK's better because he gets the
bonus prop.
He gets
right?
the
different health thresholds. Yeah, which makes sense.
More durable.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, it's that's unfortunately I definitely played it slightly wrong at certain parts in that one, but that full R9 Slacker team I faced was a monster. I stonewalled me, couldn't clear it. Like Hodocron, everything, just too much damage. And I got there was this really unfortunate situation where Ray had her bonus turn, did the Wild Lightning, passed speed up to Slacker, who had almost full turn meter, so was able to jump into ult and then swipe before my JMK could take a turn. So just looped my JMK, basically. I was like,
well, speed up on Slacker is terrifying, because that speed up on a 600 speed Slacker is like, would you like an additional 25% speed for the turn? You're like, oh.
Yeah,
but what's that going to be? Like
at 600 speed, it's an extra 120 speed, right? A minimum. You know, like that's a lot of extra speed.
That's a big thing on a GL. Like it's like it doesn't feel like a lot when you're looking at lower characters like 300 speed. You're like, it's extra 60 speed. It's kind of not that big of a deal. And then you start getting like GL level things. You're like,
yeah. It's only 120 speed on a character that's got nearly 13,000 offense. Can stun your characters unresistably, uncleansably, and ramps up massive amounts of crit damage. You just say, it's not a big deal, right? But Jesus, So full R9s. I've never faced the full R9s with all of the Ommis and that cron, and it just destroyed me. Not even close. I was like, damn it. Couldn't clear it.
I hear you.
But I had gone 4-0 to that point, so I was due a loss. I was definitely due a loss. So I'll take it. Maybe I'll win tonight. Who knows?
I mean, that's kind of where I get with the game sometimes. I was let's see, it was Friday, so Saturday was the end of round 2. So
Yeah.
I was having an evening on Friday, and
Me too.
I got shitty drunk, and so
By shitty drunk, do you mean you got really drunk, or you got the kind of drunk where you're just a bit of an arsehole?
no, I got pretty drunk. I had
that's
quite
okay.
a few shots of whiskey. No, I was just having a moment, and so
You tried to drunk gag.
no, I didn't touch gag.
Oh, well done. I'm proud of you.
In the morning, I woke up with a banger of a hangover, and
Who's in the chat? What's going on, brother?
I literally looked at my board. The guy had cleared me with 1 drop for 20.54, and I was like,
yeah. You're like, nope.
I went and took Sidious versus his Tarkin clones, got 69, and was like, that's the perfect score. I'm done.
And we're done with the gag.
That was it. I didn't care.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I was like, I am too hungover to care. Everything hurts. Nope, we're done. I'll take the L. I don't care.
Whereas me on like a Friday night getting severely inebriated whilst playing GAC, I'll lose a gag like during it. I'll go offline at like 4 a.m, and then I'll stay up till 6 a.m. looking over the board like, why did I lose? Even though I know I'm no state to try and analyze something. And I'll be like, it was CG. Those fucks. And then I'll wake up the next morning.
Came out, just beat me over the head.
I'll still be pissed off in the morning when I wake up. I'll be like, that fucking game. But yeah, sometimes I need to chill and let go, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I've gotten to the point in the last like few months where it's just like I've got better things to do in my life than sit here and like try hard at this game. And so like I don't mind doing it here and there, but it's like to do it every time, it's just like no, it's like if it's the weekend, which reminds me, I totally forgot to do my arena climbs because that
me too.
That window passed.
Yeah, me too.
Of things I don't care about. It's just like you know what, I got things to do. I got family in. I'm not going to worry about winning or losing a GAC. Like I've said before, it's like at the end of the day, for me in my case specifically, I can just go buy like $20 worth of crystals, and that'll cover a week's worth of losses. So,
I was going to say, like, I lost that on Friday night. I lost that GAC, but then on Saturday or today, I got 1,500 crystals from CG, probably for the Android snafu.
The Android issue,
I was like, so I basically won GAC. I got the crystals.
I was reading your guys' Patreon chat about it because they're like, yeah, well, it's only, it's like I didn't get it when I logged on the PC client, and I have it on Android. And I was like thinking, because I got it on BlueStacks, and I wasn't thinking about it being an Android backed program. And so I was like, hold on the phone. So I literally grabbed my phone, log into my main account on my phone, and there they were. I was like, well, I'm taking those.
I'm taking those. As free crystals is free crystals. Well, I've got 18.6k now, and for me, that's quite a lot. Normally, I spend down pretty quick. Carthrick, for you, I suppose that's just a Thursday.
I mean, yeah, dude. Some days I do really well for like weeks at a time. I'll be really good at not being like overly like spend a ton of stuff and whatever else. Yeah. And then like I'll get down a theory crafting hole, and I'm just like, it doesn't matter the cost. We need to test this.
You're like, you know what'd be really neat? R9 Vandor Chewbacca.
Oh, I would love that R9 Vandor Chewbacca. It's on my list.
Karth's gonna leave the end of the stream today and be like,
No, I don't have any mats. I'm out.
Dude, same, bro. After we on Friday we hit our sub goal for R9 Temple Guard, and then, well, mostly because GLD came in and just like we were 50 away, and GLD drops 250 and decides that the next R9 is going to be Captain Athano. I was like, he's not even in the game yet, but okay, I guess that's what we're doing. So I was like, I got an R9 Temple Guard. But I had just R9'd Mace and Depper and Tarkin. I was like, I did what's his face? Temple Guard. I was like, oh, I'm literally 0 out of 20 on go to keypads now. I have none.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Where's those error battles at, bro? Where those error battles at?
I was thinking to myself, I'm like, oh yeah, no, next week I'll just do the error battles, and I'll have enough for another R9. And then I was like, well, that's actually another 2 weeks away. I'm like, son of a biscuit.
You son of a bitch.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. But I mean, it's not like it's gonna be too bad. I'm just curious to see what they end up doing with the pirate era battle, like how easily obtainable that.
Well,
one is.
it's interesting because they're doing 2 separate ones, and so that means each one is going to be a 3-character error battle. So we've had a 4-character one.
Are they doing a 2 separate era battles?
Yes, yeah, two separate era battles. Each of them are 3-character blocks.
Is that confirmed, or is that?
It was, yeah. Well, if you call their original release on era battles where they showed the plot line of these are our releases for the next 2 eras, and these are the era battles that go along with it. They color coded those blocks, and if you look at the marquee releases, you've basically got 2 distinct pirates. You've got the first one, which is obviously the Maz team, the Maz Captain Athano with presumably maybe Hondo and Kix and Quigold, and then it moves on to basically the Skeleton Crew setup with Smee, Jod, Brutus, Vane, and eventually probably GL Hondo, right? Yeah. So those 2 separate 3 sets of marquees have got their own individual era battles by the looks of that post from like 2 months ago. Now, that's in my opinion, that's soft confirmed. Obviously, it could be different, but it looks to me like that's the case.
Well, for me, I guess I can't take it too seriously, right? Because we had 2 different era battles for this last era, so that doesn't wildly untrack. I don't love the idea of being like, I mean, if we can max it out with 1 relic and investment, or okay, fine, but if we have to do
agreed is
the clones again, where it's like you ideally need 3. I mean, it was doable with 2 with a good amount of RNG and somehow surviving.
Yeah.
The AoE 3 made it a little bit better. 4 made it a little bit better after that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could see that. I just don't want to go down that road again. I don't like having an era battle where the first 6 runs of it is completely unobtainable.
Well, I mean, that's why I liked Crimes Against the Republic, because that was like a 2-man one technically, and those first 3 tiers were really easy with just Temple Guard. You could just solo it with Temple Guard. The other tiers were locked until you had Mace. So I'm wondering if they'll do something similar. This first set is going to be a bitch. The first 3 era battles will be a bitch until you get all the characters. The second 3 will be easier, but maybe they'll lock the back end until you've got something bigger.
Like GL Hondo?
GL Hondo, yeah. Hey, Urs, if you want to join in on this chat, you're more than welcome to join the VC, brother. I'm just saying. I'll try not to squee too much. But, yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit different because this one's a GL, right? A little bit different because it's a GL.
Yeah, and I get you. But I mean, yes and no, right? Because the same people that were going to be able to unlock Mace in the first pass are going to be the same people who would unlock a GL in the first pass, and I don't see enough of a metric difference for them not to incentivize having the GL. But it also gives them another thing to incentivize having the GL. I mean, that was my big criticism with Ahsoka. Is like, mechanically, she's a great team, but with her expense to unlock her, there is no reason to go after her, because if you want all the power of the Spectre team, you go get Ezra for basically free, right? Because he's a conquest character.
They've basically alienated. I know this is a small subsection of the community, right? But they have alienated a section of that community. If they did not get Ezra, there is no point getting Glat, like at all. Yeah, like 0. Like I know the people that would go for Ahsoka are not necessarily going to not have Ezra. But they want to try and appeal at least to new players in some way. And if they're trying to bring people in, they're like, hey, look, we've got new GL Ahsoka from the new Ahsoka season. Let them go and unlock her now. And then a new player comes in and is like, oh, wait, I'm not 4 million GP. I've missed Conquest. I need to get 4 million GP, whale a crap load, and do proving grounds for a year and a half to unlock Ezra to make this team that has got a bunch of R9s actually do something, and then it's not even like the most dominant galactic legend. So it's just it's all kinds of wrong, right?
Thing for me when she first launched is that her hardest counter that just mops the floor with her is the previous GL, and I was like, like everyone has Leia. Like she was needed for a raid. She was a critical part of the game, and like that's where like I was like I just felt it. The longer you look back and you reflect on Ahsoka, a lot of it has to do with the fact that it just felt like the cost was really high and the benefit was really low, and it's like. Yeah, I don't need Ahsoka because what does she beat? Jabba and JMK. Well, by the time Ahsoka launched, you know who else beat JMK? Oh, the epic confrontation that came just before her. Like if you had Bane,
everything these days seems to have like the anti JMK clause.
Yeah, it was literally just like you guys pumped out so much content that was anti JMK. Well, hell, Queen Amidala's anti JMK, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like you had all these counters that came out prior to her release that beat the same things as her. And it's just like, as somebody who is at the tip of the spear, you know, what am I going to do with another counter to the same team I have four of, right? Like, it's like there was just a lot of things that, like, it was a perfect storm of she just suffered from power creep, from the cost of her event, and then the fact that they gave her literally nothing as a reimbursement for unlocking her. Mm-hmm. And yeah, people don't care about that. They want to have some sort of return on investment.
To be fair, Robbie, you can totally beat JMK with Ray Ben, but nobody wants to do that battle. It's shit on banners. And because you can win that fight, but you're going to lose basically everybody. And it's not guaranteed, and you might as well just throw Rey on defense. Like,
well, that's where she lives. I mean, Rey is so very rarely taken to offense, even if they have a team that can 65 her. Mm-hmm. People just don't want to, because on offense she's not efficient. It's like if she can't two-man with her and Ben, which she's datacrons is always a cluster. She on
offense, she's basically like Slacker. It's like you're going to lose banners. It's not going to be a pretty battle. But defensively, she's much better than Slacker. Like, she can, you know, obviously, you can see a Malicos. Potentially, you can star killer a Rey team. But with the right datacron and the right team and the right modding and the right relic levels, a Rey can turn from being like a trivial defensive team into an absolute pain in the arse.
Yeah.
And in GAC, sometimes all you need is one hold. So that's why people set her on defense, is because she doesn't bring enough to offense, and she can be a wild card on defense. So it's like she's kind of like I want to discount the current Rey FDC for Darkside Vision Rey, because that completely changes the Slacker dynamic. If you take that away, Slacker does not go on defense ever. He just doesn't. Because
he's two-man things on offense the majority of the time.
Take away that Kron and Bane solos him or duos him all day, every day. It's just like 2 turns, sucky, boom, everybody's dead. Like that you know, that's an efficient way of taking down Slacker. Now, obviously, I'm talking about sort of Kyber 1 era here, where everybody's got everything sort of thing. It's a little bit different in like, oh, what if he doesn't have Bane, or what if he used Bane against Queen Amidala, or, you know, obviously you can play those sort of mind games, but
you start dropping below 10 million GP and you start having to be more tactical about what you have. But it's the thing of it is too is that, like, I discount those opinions not because they're not valid, but because when you're talking about new releases, you're talking about who's pursuing those. And so most of those would be the topper end players.
Well, for a GL in particular, definitely. Yeah, Raid coming in from Nooch. Thank you, Nooch.
Yeah. So with those kinds of things, like, it's not to be like dismissive. It's just like, if you're gonna go chase a brand new GL or Journey Guide character, like, you need to have some sort of reason to go get them, right? Like, there needs to be some sort of benefit to that besides just collecting other characters. It's like,
I mean,
content for me is not marquees.
No.
Like, I don't want to be like, oh my god, you know what I want to do? I want to spend $150 every 2 weeks to unlock this character, and then
I mean, we say that, Carth,
to get the leader.
But
I do it every time.
You'll do it every time. I mean, let's be crystal clear. I say, I'm going to be doing it for Captain Athano because I'm forced to do it because of my next R9 sub goal. But realistically speaking, in 3 weeks' time, when Quiggold is coming out, and I have a Friday night stream, and things get a little bit crazy, a little bit hectic, I'll probably be like, Quiggold sounds like a great character. Let's wail on him. So I will probably, I say I won't, but I probably will end up wailing my way through the pirates.
For me, like, there's the difference in whaling for me, I guess, at this junction is, do I 7-star day one or not?
Oh, no, God knows. I'll never 7-star day one. No.
The only reason that I can see right now to 7-star day one anything is going to be when they come with the FDC, and you're looking at a 5e5 GAC lock-in, and that FDC carries some weight.
Yeah. Plus, those era battles are so damn sexy. Like,
the ROI,
if they keep throwing those at me, like, CG, I can only get so hard.
I'm inclined to keep investing because of that reason. The era battles get I get part of or most of those rewards back by the time they conclude. I'm like, I'm gonna 20k free crystals from Mace. Okay,
and that one in particular is why I was like, what about the second round of era battles? If the Mace one, obviously we all get wet between the legs or hard between the legs around the fact that there's 2k crystals if you've got the R9 tier. But let's be real, the Mace R7 tier that gives you 5 Girder keypads, 5 Omicrons, 5 Droid Banes, 10 mil creds, like, for R7, I know you need to have all of the marquees, but it's only R7. You very rarely get an opportunity in this game where you get R9 materials without needing to have R9 characters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's really cool.
Which is why I could see them doing on the second era battle for the pirates. I could see them having GL Hondo.
Well, maybe they'll do the last 2 tiers are GL Hondo only. And you get crazy rewards.
Relic materials and crystals, and I could see that being the case for that. But again, it's one of those things where we are getting to the point now where...
Carth, I'm drinking too much whiskey here. Help me.
Who, you are?
Yeah, it's too delicious.
Oh. Well, listen, it's a good thing you're not here. You'd be blacked out. I have a lot of delicious whiskey.
When am I coming over, Carth? I need to get blackout drunk. I spoke to Mrs. Scribbles about this, by the way, about us potentially going to see you at some point. And she was down. She was excited. She was happy. So, make up the spare bedroom, Carth, because we're going to come visit.
Well, so realistically, what I'd probably do is if you were to come visit, we would go over to Montana.
What's in Montana? I don't know where you live.
I live in Washington, so it's 2 states over. It's like a 7-ish hour drive from where I live.
Jesus, you want to drive 7 Oh, you're going to fly.
I would drive.
You drive 7 hours. Okay, cool. Oh, did you say that's where your dad has got a cabin in the woods or some shit?
I mean, it's a condo on a ski resort, but yeah, sure, we can call it that.
Ski resort? Can we go in the winter? I want to go skiing.
We could. We definitely could.
I love skiing.
But there's a lot more to do out there. Otherwise, I'd have to take you somewhere actually interesting, because where I live is a very small town comparatively, and so it's like, we went to my 2 favorite restaurants the first few days you were here. What do you want to do for the next 14?
What are you talking about, dude? Get drunk.
I mean, there's that too. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that front.
Get drunk and eat steak. I'm on holiday, bro.
We could do that too.
That's all I want to do. But Mrs. Scribble might get bored. I'll have to do something like take her shopping, because she likes to go shopping.
I like about Montana is that the town that's next to where the ski resort is kind of a touristy place, and so there's a lot of
all right, bet.
Shops and
we'll go to Montana.
That you can go to, and then there's dozens of like different cuisines and restaurants that you can go visit.
I mean, if it's like on a ski resort, then there's going to be places that do fondue, and fondue is always a good time.
Probably. There's probably someone that does. I have yet to do fondue.
If it's on a ski resort and they don't do fondue, then it's sacrilege.
They probably, well, so to be fair, the 2 or 3 that aren't pubs or your version of pubs on the mountain. So basically on the mountain you have 2 options, which is you have a pub and then you have 5-star dining. Oh. And those are your options.
There's no in between. It's like
there
casual
is
or fancy as fuck.
Or $100 a plate. And that is there's no in between. Yeah, no, it's like their cocktail menu is like nothing's under $20 a drink. And that gets expensive in a real hurry.
Yeah. Well, I was speaking to Mrs. Scribble about it because I've already waxed lyrical about 2027 being the year. Because obviously April 1st to April 4th or April 4th to April 9th, something like that. 2027 is Star Wars Celebration in Los Angeles, and I will be there. I am going there. I'm making it there. And that's going to be my... And apparently so is Rabid. Apparently Nooch is going. I don't know if he's still in the chat, but Nooch, apparently you're going as well. And a bunch of other content creators as well. And I'm hoping, obviously, that you're going to be there and Wolfie's going to be there. And, we can have a fucking time away. And in the evening, after we've done all of our nerding out, we can have a live Tribe Talks, which will be great in our hotel room, obviously. And then later we'll get hookers and blow and drinks.
Someone just needs to sneak down a PC to do it.
I can buy a laptop and I can bring over my camera and my microphone, and I'll tell Wolfie to bring his microphone, and you can bring your microphone, and we'll bring an audio splitter and all that sort of shit. I don't own a laptop. I only have my PC, but I'll fucking buy one. But anyway, speaking of Mrs. Scribble, she's on board with me having this time, basically, to go out and do nerdy shit on the proviso that we then go to New York and go to New York for a week. So it's going to be me being Star Wars Celebration with the lads and the nerds for like 4 or 5 days, and then it's going to be me jetting over to the other side of the states to New York to do stuff in New York. I don't know what people do there, but I'm sure there's lots of good stuff. And that's going to be one expensive fucking holiday. Yeah. So I'm going to need to take out several bank loans and hold up.
What I need from you, though, is that when I come to visit the UK, I need you to be able to be a tour guide.
Yeah, we can. I mean, I can show you all of the skeevy places around Cardiff. Yep. But I can also take you to the nice restaurants and the cool cocktail houses and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm down for all that. I just that's always been my biggest issue with traveling abroad is I don't like going where like the tourists all go. And so I want to go feel like an authentic kind of vibe.
That's awesome, Robbie. Thank you, dude.
My wife she's a big fan. We went out. She went in for one of her classes in school.
Classes?
She went to Dublin, and went to the Guinness factory there.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
Took the tour as part of her classes.
Drink stout is a class now. If you go to Dublin, you go to the Guinness factory. It's a thing.
I would do it. Yeah, I would go do that.
It's a thing. You go to Dublin. You buy the same Guinness you get everywhere, and you pay 30% more for the same Guinness, and you pretend like that Guinness is better because it's in Dublin.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the closer you get to where something is made, usually the better it tastes. Well, yeah,
because it takes less time to get there.
Yes. No. As someone who has had a Guinness in Hawaii, that might as well have just been cut with water because it did not taste. Yeah, it was awful.
Yeah, nah. I usually find it's a pub by pub thing. Especially if the pub that you go to has many people that drink Guinness. Because the more frequent people pull pints and they clear through the lines, essentially, because there's a lot of liquid flow. If you let it sit, the pipes for beer, obviously, sediment will set in. If you've got a lot more drinks flowing through, it's going to be a nicer pint. in general. And if then the landlord doesn't clean out their pipes on a regular... So I think there's an element of...
Oh, yeah.
Depends on the pub, but there's also an element of, where are you in relation to where it's brewed?
No, the place we went to in Hawaii was a high-end bar that was, in my guess, they were quite well known for watering down their drinks because they were... They were a proper, like, serviceman's bar. So they had there was a lot of people from the Army, Navy, and Marine bases that visited it, and so they didn't want to get in trouble for over serving. So they usually water down so that people don't get too drunk. It's a little bit more common in those kind of areas. But anyways,
also known as like fraud. Yeah.
But they charged out the ass. I mean, I think that Guinness was like $15 for the pint.
What the fuck? $15 must be about like £10, £11, £12. I don't know. Somewhere around that sort of. That's extortionate. Like,
it was bad. It was awful.
If I go out around here and I get charged like,
we're going back to home. Like, I was like, he's like, oh, it's a really cool place. I'm like, yeah, not at these prices. Like, homie, we'll go shop by the liquor store on the way.
I don't feel cool right now. I don't feel cool. My wallet certainly doesn't. My wallet feels very hot right now. No. Like if I'm out round Cardiff and I go to, like, say if I go to a nice pub. We've got a really nice pub nearby. It's about a 15-minute walk, but it's an independent pub. I don't know if you have them in the UK, in the States, but in the UK there is a branch of pubs that has taken over the entirety of it's the McDonald's of pubs, okay? It's called Wetherspoons. Right? And basically a Wetherspoons is a dirt cheap place to go and have some booze and food. But it's shit. It's great if all you want is cheap and cheerful, right? If that's all you're looking for, fine. Crack on, go there. But the problem with Wetherspoons is that they buy up everything. So the space for an independent pub and the viability for an independent pub, because they can't charge the same prices, they can't sell it as cheap as Wetherspoons, is very limited and difficult. So if you actually find an independent pub, you're going to pay more. If I go into one of those, like the one that's near me, it's called the Heathcock. It's lovely. And you know, a pint of Guinness there might cost me £7, £7.50 maybe. And I look at that and I'm like, fuck, that's an expensive pint of Guinness. You know what I mean? You're telling me £10 to £12 for a pint of Guinness and then it's watered down? I would be fucking fuming. I'd be like, nope. What is this shit?
I had one drink there and I was like, and I'm done. I don't need this in my life. Yeah. Like I have no problem supporting, like, you know, smaller, like, non-chain establishments and
I'd much rather pay more and go to an independent.
Because all I'm hoping for in the trade-off of paying more for that is that my service experience is different than other places. There's quite a few bars where I live here in town where it's like you patron something frequently enough, and then you have they basically, you know, they know you're going to tip them well. They're going to take care of you when you walk through the door. So it's like that's what I'm hoping for when I go to a place like that. It's like, I get that I'm paying more for your product, but I'm hoping for that the service also is better than what you'd get. You know, every time
you would
a
expect
big chain
that,
thing
right?
comes through, and they're just like, well, we're cheaper. So so I expect your service to suck, and well, usually it does. But man alive, I tell you what.
I think that's very different in the UK, but I think that's just the different cultures, because in the UK people get, like, I know it's different state to state. Some states in the United States, right, have got like a proper minimum wage for their service people. Yeah. And other states have what is basically forced labor.
Yeah.
Highway robbery, begging, basically serving people and begging for money is how I would probably articulate it. In the UK, that's not a thing, because everybody gets paid a living wage. They call it the living wage. It's still fuck all money. But at least if you are there, you're not dependent on tips to survive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So your service and your job usually depends on you actually being a pleasant person. Now, I'm not saying every single service person in the UK is pleasant. but it's more common for me to go to a pub or a restaurant and come away thinking, oh, they were nice. But I suppose that I'm also a little bit tainted in so much as I worked 10 years in the hospitality industry, serving drinks and serving food and all that sort of shit. I did 10 years of doing that, and I've seen the other side of it, and I'm never an arsehole to service people. I'm always nice to them because I know what they have to go through. It's not a fun job. I won't pretend like it's the hardest job in the world, but it's still a job where you are on your feet for 10 to 12 hours a day. You have 0 bank holidays. You work every Christmas. All of your weekends are worked.
I'll put it this way: you have to start being shitty to me first before I'll get shitty with the service person.
Exactly.
And even on top of that, like, I'll let some things slide before I'm like, hey, this isn't exactly what I ordered. I'm like, listen, unless this is like raw or undercooked, like I'm just gonna be like, you know what? Whatever, who gives a shit? It's not that big of a deal. I'm not gonna go light up some poor waitress because, you know, I didn't get 100% what I paid for today.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to riffle through real quick some of the questions in chat. Sure. Every €4 for a beer in my parts in a pub is called heresy. That's awesome, Johnny. I wish I had to pay €4 for a pint. What's the minimum relics for Scorch and Tarkin 2, man? Depends on what tier you're going in. If you're looking to do it at the R9 tier, the minimum relic is R9. Anything below that, I would say R7. Probably R7 is the minimum, but realistically speaking, all you're actually looking for is Tarkin to be modded correctly. Scorch almost doesn't matter. He just needs to sit there and take some of the heat off Tarkin until he can blow up the board. Service industry is totally different beast. Yes, gastro in general. Minimum wage doesn't always apply. Exactly. Used to have that here and there. Okay, fine. Cool. We shot through some of that. Yeah. So I don't know. You must have by now done a little bit in Order 66.
Well, I ordered 66 all over the place.
Did you order 69?
I did.
Yeah. Nice.
I had this cool thing called all the 4 main teams that you can run right now, plus, you know, leftovers at R9. So it was pretty much just
was everything R9 for you?
Yeah, no, Bad Batch R9, Clones R9, the 2 Jedi team. I have enough for 2 Jedi teams at R9. And it was pretty
so you
much
just rocked in with like a 13 mil score or something.
I'm 14.66 is what I
14.6. Everything was just 3.6.
Yeah.
All right, and you're like, and we're done with the raid.
Yeah, no, I will do an R9 pirate team. I will not do all of the pirates R9 because I don't even know if I'm going to care enough to do that with them.
But Karth, error battles.
Well, exactly, but the thing is, how many do I need for that?
Yeah, you will minimum scrape for the top tier on those error battles to get the Gerda keypads to get you back 20% of your investment. Because
Yep.
Hey, I mean, that's a net win. Even if you only getting 20% off. I mean, you look at it in that concept, right? Imagine CG released that 150 pack for 1R9, and they were like, you know what? We're going to give you $30 off that pack. You just have to, like, R9 3 other characters. You'd probably be like, yeah, fuck it, why not?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. When you look at it from that perspective of the discount, or at least the rebate that you get on the investment, it's not bad.
And then you get to have the new characters at R9. It's not like those R9s disappear. You get to use those characters forever now.
And a lot of these newer teams are dominating.
Much better,
like in TB, like Bad Batch does really well. The new Jedi Maze team does really well. Even without the Omicrons, the Ami helps with the Bad Batch team quite a bit because having that second life really helps you on some of the way for those tons of assisting, like on Bracca and Kashyyyk. Where there's lots of attacks and returns, having that second life helps you kind of
I've not used my new Bad Batch.
Well, I don't think yours are.
Mine are R5.
Yeah, which means you can only use them the first day. I mean, mine are R9, so like I can use them.
But even if I had them, I don't think I'd use them. Like the first day, I don't play. I do the SM, and I call it a day.
Yeah, there's that.
I'm like,
I won't
get the SM, deploy.
Yeah, I don't really play anything till like Relic 7. Technically, we would need to do a little bit on Phase 2, but we have enough GP bloat that we can 3-star all the planets without
the
it.
One thing I have realized in my whaley ways recently is that when it comes to TB, because obviously we've just wrapped up TV basically, haven't we? But whaling on like Mace and having the R9 Mace team, I've only got half the team at R9. The others are at R8, right? So Jocasta Nu, Ayla, and... No, Jocasta Nu and Ayla. That's it. They're at R8. The rest are at R9. And in TB, they're actually really fucking good. Mace is really good in TB. And I was like, basically full autoing every phase, from Phase 2, because obviously I don't play Phase 1. I was just like, yeah, let's use a Mace team. Auto. Win! And then I got to the place where you have to use R9, and I was like, I'm going to use Mace. And I'm like, oh. I was like, it was the only time I was like, I should R9 these characters so I can use them in TB. And then I thought to myself, I was like, wash your mouth out with soap, Scribe. What do you mean you should R9 characters to use them in TB? No, you shouldn't. I was like, but I want to.
Whoa. Don't be pooping on poor
Ayla and Jocasta.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got benefit elsewhere, but I know that would just be cognitive dissonance in my head being like, you should just R9 all of the characters. And I'm like, I don't have the good keypads.
Oh, yeah. That's like every time I go down the rabbit hole of like, I should work on other things and what requirements are. And then I start looking at that. I'm like, yeah, but, no. No.
Yeah, that's why I look at, like, quite literally, it's for the raid too now. I mean, it could be, but I don't need any more points in the raid. I'm already scoring 11.1 million in the raid. Yeah. Sure, I could go up to 12.15 and get an extra 110 Mark III currency, but I'm already vastly above what I need to do for this raid in order for my guild to max box. I don't need to put any more in. And I'm not in a guild that's like struggling to hit max box. I'm in like the 3rd biggest guild in the game. I'm the smallest GP. So I don't need to carry them to a red box in the raid. Do you know what I mean? So for me, yeah, it would give me a benefit in the raid. I don't need to do it for the raid purposes. I could, but that's probably just a net loss. I don't think 110 extra Mark III over the next 12 months is going to pay off 2 R9s. I don't think that math works out.
And again, too, it's the thing, is you need 10.4 million average per player to hit the max box. There is literally no reason to hit 18 million per player besides the fact that you can do that and basically get away with 30 people in the raid hitting it and not having to worry about the other 20 people even trying, right?
Yeah. But that's the thing. When you're in a guild like Mororodium, you don't expect people to not hit. You don't. People are hitting the raid.
No,
people are hitting it.
People are playing. They're not. No one sits around and does nothing. That's not the vibe.
Nobody's there with their dick in their hands, like, yeah, I'm just gonna full auto my Gungans for 2.7 or 3.6 and not do the rest of my attacks. No, people in these guilds, they play all the time. They're serious about it, so they don't need me to uplift them. So when you look at it from a cost to benefit ratio, it doesn't make sense for me to do it in that respect. Even if you looked at it from the TB ratio, because it's not going to get my guild any more stars. All it's going to do is it will satisfy me because I could take Mace in and be like, hey, I can go in on the Ring of Kafrene. And I can win with Mace.
Fun. I enjoyed that this go around. Just like hopping in and pressing auto.
Oh yeah, because I tried. I was like, let's go in on the Ring of Kafrene with Mace, but with 2 Jedi that are not R9, that are still Galactic Republic. And I was like, oh, my entire team is dead before I take a turn, more or less. It was like they killed 2 people before I'd done anything. I was like, fuck.
Yeah. That's an odd one.
Yeah. So, One day I will be at that point where I'm not worried about, can I R9 someone? Because eventually that's where we get to. It's like eventually that's where we get to.
Everyone
Because
gets to me.
I eventually it all leads to Karth. There was a time when I was like, fuck, Kyrotechs are so hard to come by. And now I'm like, I have 5,000 of each Kyrotech. Karth probably has 50,000 of each Kyrotech.
I don't.
No, you're breaking them down for relic mats, aren't you? Yeah.
Can't, but not the point.
I think you can use Kyrotech for some, can't you? Can you not? None at all?
I don't think so. I think the Mark III Carbantes, Mark V stun guns, that kind of stuff can be, but I don't think the Kyrotechs can.
Okay. Well, maybe that's going to be for Relic 10.
No, it's just that the difference on that particular part of it is that since I have everything at gear 13 essentially, it means I've burned through more through the course of time. So like you would go through a few thousand of those just getting the rest of your characters up. Or since you did it before, I did it before the Lightspeed bundles were a thing, you're skipping out on some of that investment by not having to make it at all. So
yeah,
it allows, because I have 1,800 of the shock prod and 2,600 of the battle computers. But,
how do I have more then? I don't understand.
Again, I did all of my Gear 13 investment prior to Lightspeed bundles.
Oh yeah, prior to Lightspeed bundles. Yeah, that would be it. Because I still have like 8 characters I've not relics because I'm like, I don't need to. I'm not going to waste 100 characters. There'll be a Lightspeed bundle at some point that I can spend $15 on and get this person to relic 3 to 5. I'd rather do that than drop the gear, even though realistically now I could probably just drop the gear. I could probably do that. But Johnny, to answer your question, I don't know what the fuck your guild is doing either. Because if my 6-month-old completely free-to-play account can get 600,000 points in the raid, and I have not been logging in every day, then your guild at 400 million GP, which is 4 times the size of my guild, is definitely doing something wrong. Alright? There are 3 accessible soloable teams for 300k apiece. That's 900,000, and there is a team of Jedi Vanguard characters that was already a team in the previous raid. Everybody should be punching higher. Should all be punching higher. It's not like we haven't known that this new raid has been coming for the last 3 months. So, yeah. Aero magnifiers are your crunch spot. Mine, actually, to be fair, aero magnifiers are a little bit of a pain. They are. They are a little bit of a pain. There was a moment when I exclusively used all my Mark III raid currency just to buy aero mags. And I wasn't buying anything else. No impulse detectors, no Zimbidis, none of it. I was just like, I need the aero mags. Because I can't break down any gear to get those, and they're really low, and I need to do like 4 Relic 9s. And now I'm like, I have no gear to keypad, so I can't Relic 9 anything. And I don't want to break down my gear.
Well,
because assault battles give them to me. Not assault battles, aero battles.
There was a time about a year, maybe 2 years ago, where like Electrum conductors were my biggest bottleneck in taking characters up, because it requires so many to take a character from gear 0 to relic 8 or whatever, that I was burning through them at an astronomically higher rate. And so it's like I was stuck on doing anything by how much I could get Electrum conductors. And it has changed over the course of time, but
because now you've done you've broken the back of it now, so it's probably a lot easier for you to keep on top of those Electriums, because you're like, I don't need to relicate everything every now. So
what? Nah, come on. We always do that. We always relicate everything.
No, you don't have to relicate everything else because they're already relicate. Except for the 6 characters you've still got at Relic 7?
I've got quite a few more than that, but
50?
No, I gotta be hunting down below 40 now because got so many R8s now.
That's first world problems over here, guys. He's got so many relic 8s.
Well, like at this junction, when everything good comes out in like a datacron set,
and you're like, relic 8
those characters. Well, because that's basically like the epitome of optimal performance. Like I said, when I get down the rabbit holes of theory crafting, it's like everything's theory crafts at relic 8 because that's the most ideal location for that.
It's the most reasonable amount of investment because as soon as you hit relic 9, it gets crazy. Relic 8 is for an endgame character. Like my stance currently is like, if a new character comes out, I want to relic 8 him. It's going to be tricky, but I would like to relic 8 him because it's a good staging point. It's like, if I need to take him to R9, I will. But other than that, he's perfect now at relic 8.
Yeah, that's pretty much where it lands for a lot of people too. Is like, it's just a good spot to be in. It's not like it's the best spot to be in, or like a spot you have to be in. But so much of this game now is like, at the top end is just like, if you're not at relic 8, you're not optimal, and that's a problematic spot to be in.
Yeah. I mean, I say that, and I look at a bunch. My issue is my like legacy characters. Is because I'm obviously doing that for new characters, but
yeah,
I'll be like, my Jedi Knight Revan is relic 5 because he never needed relic levels. Yeah. It's like, as soon as he hit relics, he's not getting any more speed, and apart from speed, you want a bit of bulk, maybe, for Jedi Knight Revan, but it wasn't massively important. It was just nice to have. So it's like, it never really mattered. Relic 5, fine. Now I really wish he was like relic 7, relic 8, but I can't justify going back and thinking, yeah, let's just relic 8 Jedi Knight Revan from 5. I'm just like, no, I need to focus that on the new characters. The same for my Jedi Knight Luke is R7, and I'm like, I would like to take him to R8. I'd like to take him to R9, to be honest, but I can't. So
he is a lot of fun at R9, I'll tell you that.
Well, I bet he is. He's a beautiful Jedi Master, but hey. Is what it is. Was it good, Diesel Cheese?
A lot of how the game is right now. It's like there's just a lot of
so
just a little bit more relic investment.
If anybody wants to send me their credit card info so I can buy more relic 9s, just slide into my DMs, and I'll send you foot pics. It's a good deal. And that's on the internet forever.
Worthy trade.
Yeah, definitely a worthy trade. Definitely. I mean, my feet are hideous, but there's a kink for everything, I've been told.
Hey, so. just send Mrs. Scribble's foot pics.
They would probably sell better.
They probably would.
Yeah. She might be a bit disgruntled though if I did that.
I mean, she doesn't know doesn't hurt her.
Yeah, well, I mean that's true. Good stuff. So we've spoken about raid stuff. We kind of touched on Pirates as well. Do you have any ideas about who's going to be requirements for pirates? Outside of, obviously, the new marquees.
Oh, outside of the 6 marquees and the 3 other ones that we know about? I would assume that we would get some callbacks to the Clone Wars era. So I wouldn't be surprised if General Kenobi or Jedi Anakin or Ahsoka were requirements from that.
Okay. The thing is, all of those have already been Rex. And I know that's not uncommon, but...
doubling up on this one's going to be kind of a unfortunate side effect of just where the game is right now, and with GLs and everything else that's been around. But I could see them requiring SME. Not that I love the idea, but I could see them requiring it.
I don't think Maz will be a requirement.
I don't think she will, because I don't think she'll be here. It'll be like Ezra, how Ezra's not a requirement for GLAT because Ezra released
but you need him.
3 weeks prior to her.
Oh, I don't think Maz will be in the team.
No, she won't. What I'm just saying is like, SME is far enough away that it makes a good amount of sense that people could, even who were not planning on unlocking SME in 3, could double back and get it maybe in 5.
And so that one makes a good amount of sense for me. The outside of the Marquise, the Marquise is 6, and so that's me is 7, and then we have the other 3, so that's 9. So basically, after that junction, I would say probably the majority of what you're going to find after that is going to be stuff from the scoundrel tag. Of people that you have
do you think? Do you think they'll just do like Nest and Sana because they're pirates?
No, I don't think. I think they're going to try to thematically brand it around people that he worked with.
Yeah.
So it's like why Ezra's there, right? Like Vandor Chewbacca's a little odd of a duck because I can't recall a Rebels episode where they dealt with
like the closest thing I saw was that apparently Hondo has an interaction with Chewbacca on Galaxy's Edge on one of like the rides, and that's like the most fucking hair pulling, straw grabbing kind of connection. It's like, it's in Galaxy Edge.
Makes a lot of sense because there's a lot of interaction with him and Rebels. I could see them having a couple more Phoenix members required. I could see them having some of the Galactic Republic stuff from his Clone Wars. I could see some Separatist requirements in there too because he kind of messes with everybody on that side. I could see some of that in play just to kind of be like, we're all over the board because we can. But again, it's one of those things where it's like, odds of snips pretty low because she's a GL. She's already a requirement for us for GLAT, and that's at R9. So that's like
you can't eke out an extra level there without introducing Relic 10.
And then GK is what R8 requirement for Kenobi, or is he R7?
GK is R8. He's an R8 requirement for JMK, I think.
And Jedi Anakin is an R7 requirement for
C?
Lord Vader or C.
Lord Vader.
One of the two.
No, I think it's C.
One of the two. I don't remember off the top of my head anymore.
Yeah.
But so those are the main cast that he works with. So I could see things like maybe them requiring Saw Gerrera. That wouldn't surprise me because there's a whole character arc or story arc where they supply munitions to Saw.
That makes sense because Saw outside of
it's actually what ends up killing his sister.
Killing Saw's sister or Hondo's sister?
Yeah, Saw's sister.
Oh Jesus, that's fucked up. Because Saw isn't a requirement outside of Gear 12 for Cal, right?
I could see Saw kind of being
Seesaw.
Being up there because there's a story arc and basically the Galactic Republic can't be involved with the insurgency because it's a neutral planet. They're not involved, and so they have Hondo supply rocket launchers to the insurgency because they're not allowed to be involved. So they have a third party do it. And then the rocket launcher, Saw used the rocket launcher to shoot down a droid gunship. The gunship crashes it into the position that his sister's in, and then she falls off the cliff and dies when Ahsoka can't save her. So anyways, it's a long story short of how basically Hondo kind of kills Saw's sister. So I could see that maybe being a requirement. It depends how niche they want to get. I mean, Vandor or Veteran Smuggler. Oh, it is Veteran. Sorry, Veteran Smuggler Chewbacca is a pretty thin.
Oh, I wish it was. I wish it was Vandal.
Yeah, but it's Veteran. Sorry.
So I could have more of a reason to relic him higher and invest in him.
I ignored it because I saw I was already done with it.
Veteran Chewie is such a shit unit.
I have it at R9. Now, granted, it's 100% for platoons.
Yeah, but
nothing else.
But shit though, Karth. But shit though.
Well, and to be fair, it does reasonably well under
with Tarkin in TW or something.
No.
Not Tarful. Tarkin. Fuck me.
It does.
I've had some whiskey.
Well with Tarful. It does okay in GAC when there's a Cron that supports the team, because he does hit like a truck under Tarful lead. I won't argue that point, but it's like it's one of those things like, well, if you put enough relics on the team, you put enough mods, they got a good datacron, it's a great team. It's like Yeah, but 90% of the player base is not going to make that investment because it's such a shit character to to have otherwise. So it's like, all right, fair. I'm not going to argue.
Just not worth it.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It's just not worth it when you could spend your resources much more efficiently elsewhere.
On that GL Hondo.
Glondo. Oh, we're going to call him Glondo?
No, we're not.
Yeah, I'm calling him Glondo. Glondo is it. Yeah, Glondo.
Why don't we, at this particular junction, start powering through some Tribe Talk questions?
We've got Tribe Talks questions?
We do,
Do we really?
This whole thing.
All right. It's almost like this is a podcast where we have questions that we take. Fuck, we do have some questions. All right, let's do it. It's time for the Tribe Talks questions, baby. This is a Galaxy of Heroes podcast, and we talk about Galaxy of Heroes. So first question comes from Oni. And Oni says, now that the first raid runs are done, what are your collective thoughts on where to stop for mid-tier semi-competitive guilds? Oh, that's an interesting question. Now, I've done fuckloads of testing on this new raid, but I'll let Karth go first in case he has got any input he wants to give.
I would say, like, as much as it kind of may not be fun, with how easy some of the undermans are going to be between Keller and Beck and Tarkin clones, I think most guilds, even in a semi-competitive nature, should be aiming for a second tier, like the second highest box. At 375, it's like 7.4
that's
million
easy.
per. 2 R9 teams. That's all you need. Tarkin clones, which can be undermanned with a 2 or 3. 3 is more reliable than 2, but whatever. Three clones to R9 and one clone, 2 clones to R9, 1 pre-existing character, and then Keller and Beck squad to R9, which is basically just Jocasta, Keller and Beck plus 3, which take Ayla because she's the one for Mace.
She's the 5th for Mace, yeah.
Yeah, and that's 7.2. So then everything else just needs to be whatever you can muster on the other 3 runs while you're waiting for the rest of the characters to come to your guild. I think realistically, with it's a steep investment. I won't argue the point, but I think for most guilds that are going to be semi-competitive, that's a great way to get your overall rewards up to a nice level without having to over-invest in anything else, because you don't have to worry about the new Mace, you don't have to worry about the new pirate teams, you don't have to worry about anything else. You just need to score basically those 2 runs at max and then get 200,000 points on the next 3 runs. Like that's a fair benchmark. It still sucks, but
the way I look at it is it's very hard to quantify what a mid-tier guild is, because that's going to be entirely subjective to what you think a mid-tier guild is. What I will say is that there is a lot of incredibly low-hanging fruit for this raid. And by low-hanging fruit, I mean we've got 3 solo characters. Tarkin can solo, Nest can solo, and Hondo can solo at tier 1, right? But also, Tarkin can solo the 450, tier 1. He can solo tier 1. So tier 0 is the 300k, tier 1 is 450. Tarkin can solo that tier, just requires a little bit of either you mod for more tenacity to stop him getting stunned from Apo at the start and you can clear through then, or you just run the gamut until he doesn't get stunned and then you win, right? Okay, so you can get, a decent amount of points. We're talking between 900k to, 1,150 out of those 3 teams, reasonably accessible. If you are mid-tier and you are running Naboo beforehand, you are going to have had some Jedi Vanguard. Might be Keller and Beck, might be Luminara. Luminara can easily get a 300k. If you've got Keller and Beck, you can punch up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Depends on the characters. If people have got Jocasta, you can start taking that Keller and Beck up to the 1.8 million. Further, it really depends on the relic levels. Now, if you are looking for that really low-hanging fruit to really elevate, just invest in Tarkin and Scorch after you've got the low-hanging fruit. So after you've done Nest, after you've done Hondo, you've got Tarkin, Maybe you've got a Jedi Vanguard team. Invest in just Scorch. I know Scorch isn't farmable yet, but when he is farmable, invest in him, and you'll be able to just duo with Scorch and Tarkin. All the way up. All the way up. And you don't have to go crazy. You don't have to go crazy. As long as Tarkin has got the relic levels and has got the mods, you'll be able to do every tier. I can duo Tarkin Scorch at 3.6, the maximum tier, and it's not because I've got Scorch at R9. Obviously, you need him at R9 to do it, but his modding almost doesn't matter. He's just there to take the brunt. So it will work at the lower levels, provided you've got enough investment in your Tarkin. So you can punch up that way. That's like the cheapest investment, in my opinion, in order to try and perform better. And Tarkin is also required at an R7 brand, right? So if you really want to be like minimal investment into the raid for maximum games, that's what I would do. Early game, Jedi Vanguard, Keller and Beck, Jedi Vanguard, the solo teams, and then invest in Scorch. And if you can, do Scorch Apo. Do both of those, and it's easier if you take both of those guys. And you'll be able to score really well. You'll be able to... I would say fuck off with the pirates. Don't even bother investing in the pirates. You don't need them. But if you can invest in the rest, you'll be able to secure yourself solid scores. If you've got 3 solos or 2 solos and then maybe like a 1.8, you're going to be scoring 2.5 mil. Depending on where you're at, if you have more relic levels, you can go even further and even further and even further. If you took advantage of the bonus drops of the Bad Batch and you managed to 7-star them, you can take them to any relic level you want. R5, they'll score the 1.2. R7, they'll score the 1.8. Is it 1.8?
R7, yeah 1.8.
Yeah, 1.8, and R8 is 2.7, isn't it? They can, with correct modding, max score each tier. But I personally would say that Bad Batch are the lowest priority. The lowest priority, because if you invest in like Dark Side clones, helps your Lord Vader, helps your Tarkin in 3v3, but also works towards new Mace. If you get new Mace is a trio team, so the teams you invest in are going to be clones into Depper and Temple Guard. Forget the pirates, forget the Bad Batch, and use the lower tier teams. That would be my long-winded way of saying that's where you should invest. Hope that makes sense. Okay, cool. So next question, I guess, Garth, right? All right, so I'll delete this one. Lalna asks, do you think that because GL Hondo is a requirement / usable character in the raid, CG will make him easily accessible to unlock by having low relic investments instead of the hardest part about unlocking him early being his marquees at 7-star, like they did with Jabba and Leia? Or do you think that CG don't really care that he's going to be usable in the raid and will make him a GL Hondo and a bunch of R8s and R9s? We've kind of answered this already, or at least I have. I think he's going to be relatively accessible outside of the fact that it's most likely that all of these new marquees are going to be required. I don't think they're going to be R7 to R9. I think they'll be R3 to R7 at best.
I think the majority of the remaining requirements, they might sprinkle in a 1 or 2 more R8s, but I would be surprised if much more is higher than R7. I don't think they're going to do any more R9s. I don't think they're going to do anything else with that. It doesn't make sense. It's not a character. Again, as it sits for most players, you can get highest rewards as a guild in the current raid without investment in pirates. Period. So it's like, if that's the only reason to go after him, there is no reason to go after Hondo. So
not right now. Not right now for most people.
Yeah, I don't see a reason for them to make that him an expensive unlock. I feel like it's just kind of we wanted to do pirates. Who's a kind of a pirate GL we can run with to make things work? Well, because clearly they were going to be fair, at one point doing GL Thrawn, and that didn't pencil. So
to be fair, I don't think we're planning on doing pirates. I think it was more like Disney says we need to do pirates.
Oh yeah, I feel that.
This feels very much like a forced hand situation.
Well, that's been CG for the last like what 2-3 years now.
Pretty much.
We follow theatrical releases and we don't do anything else, and I think that unfortunately stagnates the game too much. But
I don't think they have a whole lot of say. I think if we ever get a lull in releases for Star Wars content, like no shows, no films for an extended period of time, then I think there will be a little bit more freedom for CG to release things that the players want to see. But until that happens, I think we're going to be a little bit tethered.
You would think that their motivation would be maximizing profit, as Hondo would say.
Profit.
To do that, you think they would focus on things that would be more interesting to the player base. Like when the majority of, not everybody, but there is a strong majority of players that are early 30s, late 20s to 40s and 50s.
I'm going to pretend like I'm early 30s to late 20s. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That demographic is tied to completely different, Star Wars content that they grew up with. And I'm like, that's what you should be pitching to us, How long do we have to yell for proxy before somebody's like, you know what?
I've already told Meathead in no uncertain terms that their next unlock has to be Force Unleashed characters. I've told him, we're getting proxy, Juno Eclipse, we're getting Ram Coda. Yeah. Just make it happen, CG. Like, no excuses. Oh, and I want a new Starkiller. Like, light side, dual-wielding Starkiller.
Yeah. Oh, Galen Merrick.
Yeah.
That iteration of Starkiller.
Yeah. The Force Unleashed 2 Starkiller. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that too. Full stop. Love that all day. And but the thing is that's what I miss. Like when we did Starkiller, we got Mara Jade and Kyle Katarn and
that was amazing, wasn't it?
And all those characters. That was the most excited
and Tavion Johnny.
That was the most excited I ever was for a release in this game. Like prior to that, it would have been Revan when he released. Outside of that, like everything else has been like, oh, it's cool, I like JMK, I like Lord Vader, but it's like it doesn't hit the same chord. And like I've said before, like there are certain things that I grew up with. It was like
Delta Squad.
If you were like, hey, these marquees are gonna be super expensive, I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like, sign me up.
$200 a character is Delta Squad, bitches. I don't care.
Yeah, I will have it day one. Please release all of the characters in the same week. Thank you.
And if you could also kindly release all of the R9 packs at the same time, just in case.
Dude, the one they just put out today, I was like, a couple days ago, I'm like, nope, not gonna get that. It's too. It's not even their best one, and it's not even like a great deal. So I was like, nah, no. But like, I don't understand why they. I do get it. I want to be ignorant. I want to be happy in the fact that they could do whatever they wanted to do, but we know that that's never the case. So, but yeah, when it comes to Hondo and everything else, I think this will be overall a fairly cheap GL in comparison. I think we're gonna have a lot more of the vibes of Jabba the Hutt, where it's going to be you're going to have R3s, you're going to be cheaper, it's just going to be the new marquees.
Older characters, maybe easier to gear, lower overall investment, but you will still have new marquees, just not R9 out the wazoo. Like I give them leeway with the Hondo R9 because he's pretty old at this point and it's a Hondo GL. So Maybe I'll eat my words. Maybe they'll give us another 2 R9s. But if they do, I would be hard pressed.
If they do that, Hondo has to be the first GL that can straight up tell another GL to shove off. Like,
yeah, but can you imagine that situation? It's just like fucking Hondo turns up and he's just like, "Fuck you, Leia. Fuck you, JMK. Fuck you, Lord Vader clones.
No,
I'm better than all of y'all."
not thematically what I'd like to see, but like if they're gonna make another GL that like that level of expensive, it has to be something that we're just like, okay, this is dominant. It needs to be dominant because like that was the thing with Glat. Like everyone was like, I was on the train of that. Like Glat's gonna be dominant. She's gonna just she's so expensive. It doesn't make sense for her not to be dominant. And then she gets steamrolled
by the previous GL, and like everyone was like, "Oh, datacrons are what the factor is on that," and then it was like, "No, it's just the fact that she can literally have Drogon one tap Ezra."
Yeah, exactly. What they should have done is they should have given him like, I don't know, some sort of like, if you have reduced damage for the first 5 turns. Kind of like, you know how the bounty hunter modifier has got that true defense? Where it's like it starts at 9 stacks and drops and drops and drops. If they'd have done something like that for the Glatt team, so you try and basic, but you're doing 90% less damage. It's like, yeah, you're not going to one-tap Ezra. The battle's going to drag out. It is. And the thing is with Drogon is he's only doing that big damage for his first basic. I mean, don't get me wrong. He still does a lot of damage. He does, but it's the first basic that'll do like 300 to 500,000.
Yeah, when you can turn
under
the
protection
board into a turn 4, you can be like, it's now a 4v5. That's a huge thing, but like that's again the point we talked about earlier. Glatt is so dependent on Ezra for functionality that like once he's been defeated or if he's on the team does not perform anywhere near that level of good. So
Tren, I understand where you're coming from, but it's not like that at all. It's like, oh, if Glatt doesn't do it, then you got C Bane. Like then you have other counters that can still do it. But it's like if the latest GL gets immediately hard countered by the GL immediately before it, but this GL costs 3 times as much to unlock. It's like, why are you even doing it? Like, what's the point? I'm not saying a defensive team shouldn't be beatable, but it's just a weird choice. And she's not performing like Leia right now is probably the best GL in the game. Like all around, she's like probably solid defensively. One of the best offensively, especially when it comes to banners. She's very banner efficient. Great in every game mode. Has a really shit bonus assault battle. That'll get you 1 Omicron every 3 months, it feels like. But other than that, she's like a really good investment. You know? Like, I'd rather have her over JMK Cat. I'd rather have her over Lord Vader Clones. I'd rather have her over Slacker and Rey. It's like, she's just a really solid investment all around. And GL Ahsoka Tano is not even half that, but is over twice as expensive to unlock. It's like...
Well, and the thing is, too,
weird.
though, is that the thing about it is that the other caveat is that Leia was a raid requirement, right? Like, that she was a character that you needed to farm. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about that, and that's why her being the hard counter to Glatt sucked, because everybody had that. You know, there are people to this day who are still missing Vader because no one cares. Like his presence had no negative impact, positive or you know, or whatever, for not having him unlocked, and that's kind of where we're coming at. It's like, I don't mind that Glatt had a hard counter out the rip. What I mind is that it was one of the most prolific GLs that people rushed to unlock. Like there was nothing about it that made it like she didn't even have a moment to shine in the meta before Leia was like, yeah, but wouldn't it be really cool if like turn 3 Drogon just deleted Ezra and then it didn't matter, and then like the next season of 3v3 people were like, you know, it'd be a really good use for Ezra, Rey.
Just put him in Rey, yeah. And to your statement about you can't use Leia elsewhere. You can't use Leia versus Rey. But I mean, Rey has been countered by Starkiller or Malicos for years. Yeah. Like, Rey's got answers already. You don't need, even with Ezra. You don't. And as soon as you take Ezra away from Glatt, you don't need to use Leia against Glatt. Yeah. Like, it's that and that's the problem. That's the problem.
You can use C plus trash to beat Glatt without Ezra.
You can use Queen Amidala.
Yeah,
the
there's
support
so many
cron,
things. Like, well, that beats everything.
Yeah,
like,
that beats pretty much
close.
everything. Yeah.
It's
really
almost
good.
a pretty much instant I win.
So
button.
it's just
it's going to get worse in 5s though. Think in 5s where you have a fast echo.
I think the other side of GL Ahsoka is that offensively it doesn't feel like she really does much. You know, it's like
she
it would be fine
she
if
autos 2 teams that no one needed to counter for, like Jabba and JMK. It's like, oh, yay!
If she was coming out and she would just like fucking demolished every GL on offense, but was kind of mid on defense. She's kind of mid on defense right now. But if she demolished GLs on offense, I wouldn't care. But she doesn't feel like an offensive GL, and she's just kind of on defense. And in 3s in particular, you want to take away Ezra and throw in with Rey.
She's on offense. She kind of ends up being like JML, right? Where it's like, I'm not going to use you to counter a GL because you don't do it as efficiently as this triple Omni GAC team does. So I'm going to use you to short man or underman an easier team, right? Like that's what you're going to end up doing. You're just not going to, if you ever take her to offense. Like the only time I've ever done anything, like, I might bring her back to offense if Hut Cartel gets a good cron again, and once the Afro-cron goes away, I might be like, all right, she's just gonna get beat by Queen Amidala for 2 more months. I'll just take her to offense, But like that's kind of the rub with a lot of that.
To answer Awie's statements over here. Now, Awie, a lot of this has to be earmarked with FDCs are skewing the meta right now. Okay, so. About Lord Vader CX2 Apo. Yes. Leia is a great counter to that. Is it the only counter? No. You can take in JML Hoda. Now, if you're taking in JML Hoda, you need to have the Hodacron, which means you're sacrificing a counter versus Slacker with Rey. Okay? So this is entirely like a current cron dependent thing. Alright? A current cron dependent thing. But in this current scenario, are you expecting your opponent to have Glat Ezra whilst you do not have the Queen Amidala counter to Glat Ezra, which is very reliable, and you don't have Bane, and you don't have C, and you don't have other things, whilst also having Lord Vader Apo with Apocron and Slacker with the Rey FDC all on defense? And if they've got that, what have they got to counter your defense? It's like, yeah, sure, absolutely, Leia is a really solid counter to Lord Vader clones, but it's not the only counter. Yet there are other options, right? There are other options. I personally use Leia to counter Lord Vader because it's an easy counter. It's an easy counter. Like, why the fuck not? Let's use it. I don't need to use my Leia elsewhere. But, because Glat is easily dealt with, even with Ezra, with Queen Amidala and the support datacron. And that uses no GLs, and it's hilarious. You know what I'm saying? But that changes as soon as Lord Vader loses the Apocron. All of a sudden, you won't need Leia to beat Lord Vader in 3v3 in particular, right?
Well, that's not the cron though, right? Like it's a
little bit of the cron.
Well, a little bit. It gives them a lot of the damage boosting off of that.
And I know nobody wants to hear this, but you can also use Rey.
Yeah.
You can take her off defense and you can use her, but
most people with CX2 though is shutting down basically the non-GL counters because you have to kill Lord Vader before you can kill Apo.
Before you can kill Apo, yeah.
Yeah. So like there's a caveat, right? Like the Kron is giving them a lot of damage. It'll probably make, once the Kron goes away, it'll probably make it easier for some of those Omicron teams to survive long enough to actually kill. And yeah, it's one of those things. It's a heavily datacron dependent.
It's like I said, it's down to the fact that currently we've got an FDC for Apo that's messing things up for Lord Vader, and we also have an FDC for Slacker that's messing up other counters, and we've also got an FDC for Hoda that's providing us some solutions, and we've got an FDC for Queen Amidala. It's not really for Queen Amidala, but she's best in slot currently. it's a very symbiotic relationship. If you were to take away all the datacrons, all the FTCs, it would be a different world we live in. It would be a more boring world.
Yes.
The real problem isn't that without Ezra is subpar on defense. The problem is that basically nothing is good on defense unless they have a specific cracked DC. Board size is way too small. Hufra Devra, I mean, yeah, I would tend to agree in general. Yeah, there aren't enough viable defensive teams for the size of the board that we've got and the amount of teams that we have offensively. Which brings me back to hating datacrons. No, Johnny, datacrons are the answer. They are the solution, not the problem. Poor game design to have tunes you have to grind years for, dependent on monthly thing. It's not monthly, it's every 4 months. It's quarterly.
Well, listen, if you're chasing teams based off of datacrons, that's where you're making a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Datacrons are 100% necessary for this game to survive at this junction. Without it, the game would be an indefinite circle jerk of power creep that we could never get over. We would literally have to be to a GL that can basically turn a GL off or instantly defeat GLs, because that's the only way we can make the board, keep you investing in what we're putting out. So it's an unfortunate side effect of where the game went. I think there are additional ways to solve this problem, redesigning the GAC board, looking at different elements for that to make that larger rosters have a greater impact. But for right now, datacrons are the solution for those things. But anyways, we should get to the next question.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I got distracted. Apologies. I was just pontificating with the chat. Right. Okay, let me get back over to it. Let me find it. Okay, so we did...
Joe's question.
We did Lalna. Bubba Joe. Since it appears CG wants to continue to break the R9 barrier for Pirate King Hondo, if we assume there are 2 to 3 more requirements, what do you think they might be? We've kind of answered this already.
I don't think there will be any more R9 requirements. No. Therefore, there are no speculation on what they would be.
Yeah, I don't think they'd give any. Like, R8 is the highest investment I'll see. If there are more R9s, I would be very surprised, especially given community sentiment.
I would be floored if there were more R9s, unless Hondo is literally unbeatable. Besides mirror matches, I don't.
Could you imagine the community stink there? It's like GL Hondo is beating all of the other GLs.
Nobody wanted is going to be the best GL in the game. Yeah, I can't imagine that going over well.
If he doesn't have some sort of unique that's like delusions of grandeur. It's like,
that would be funny.
I think, therefore I am. But yeah. Okay, so Bubba Joe, thank you for your question. Next up, we've got Zoidberg. What character currently in game do you want to see reintroduced in the game, given that CG have seemingly abandoned... Oh, okay, so not reintroduced. Who would you like to have a rework?
Well, no. It's reintroduced. So, like, instead of having... reworking Mace Windu, we get Jedi Master Mace Windu, right? Like that's.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
Like, who could we get reintroduced as another iteration of the same character but with a new kit, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
At that junction, it's like, you could. Honest to God, for me right now, I think the thing I would want most would be a journey guide Darth Vader.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
Like Darth Vader is good. Don't get me wrong, but. He is not an event character. He is nothing. He is just a standard unit in the game. We need a journey guide character iteration of him, and I would like to see another version of Darth Vader show up and be an absolute menace to an Empire team, or take his own faction. They did it with Jedi Vanguard. Let's get ISB or some other bullshit faction and let him lead that. I don't care. I would be okay with it. But if instead of reworking him again, I would rather see like those powerful characters get a journey guide iteration of themselves. I would be okay with that.
Fair. If it were me, I would take IG-86, right? And I would just make Proxy. Fuck it.
But Proxy's not an IG series droid.
I don't fucking care. It's reintroduced it as a completely different droid. All right? Okay? I mean, we could basically just say that with any humanoid character. We'd be like, yeah, we want to take fucking, who shall I say, like Luke Skywalker, and we want to reintroduce it as GL Han Solo, because they're both human.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, if it wasn't for that, I would probably be someone like Yoda. Like a GL Yoda.
Yeah, or a journey guide.
Yeah.
At least,
I mean, he's already a journey guide character.
He's a legendary. So I mean, I could. Yeah, the next step would be a GL.
He feels like he should be a GL. To be fair.
Well, they could do, and they still have the room for a GL Yoda if they didn't absolutely butcher the High Republic era's first thematic release with Acolyte.
I mean, High Republic-ish. It was like the end of the High Republic.
Well, but
I think the only thing high about that show was the producers. Where they thought it was a good idea. To be fair. Now, I would be okay with that. I would be okay with a High Republic era thing. But I would also not mind an Episode 2 Anakin.
Yeah. Padawan Anakin?
Yeah.
From Geonosis. Yeah, I would be okay.
I'd be kind of okay with that. Like, with the braid and, why not? Give us a Padawan Anakin.
Yeah, I would be. Well, I would love to do that, to have her lift lifting up the OG Padme team and then rebuild another Padme team.
Oh my God! Can we please get Pad as a lifter?
For the love of God, can Padme use Ami Lumi?
No.
We know she can't because she's a protection up character, but still.
Because I have a running joke with Calvin right now.
I know. I saw the opening to his video.
You saw that?
I had to go back because I was like, I saw it was on preview on YouTube, and so I saw you show up, and I was like, oh, they're making a joke. So I went to click it, and it skipped it. So then I had to go back to the beginning to catch the video again.
It got linked to me, and I was like, oh, it's a Calvin video. I watch a Calvin video. I was like, why am I the opener to a Calvin video?
It was awesome.
It was awesome. I'm gonna have to steal a clip of Calvin and use him in my video.
Your bald head.
There's got to be some of it somewhere. I just need to get Calvin drunk enough.
Listen, I try, but Homie A doesn't have a direct tipping function for his stream.
See, now that's his fault.
Secondly, it's not very often that he does those kinds of streams. Like
he doesn't have a Friday night stream.
No, he doesn't. And
so the problem. He streams on a Friday night, but he doesn't have a Friday night stream.
Yeah. Something about being a responsible adult or whatever. But if he had, even if it was through subs, and he had like do the subs.
Yeah, add it, Trent.
I would go trash him more occasionally just to make it happen, because it's always fun to watch him. And then you guys get on stream together after some shots.
See, I do sometimes get inordinately drunk, and I go, Calvin, come play Whose Kid Is It Anyway with us. And he's like, oh, God, I gotta go and entertain Scribe for 20 minutes. And then we randomly correctly guess some of his stuff and then show how very little we know about the game at the same time. All right, cool. Thank you, Zoidberg. That was a good way to talk about Calvin. Where do you want raid inputs? Not here, Jar Jar Binks. That's the wrong place. Still the wrong place.
Yeah, strategy would probably be the best channel currently available for it. Outside of that, please don't put them in Tribe Talks questions. And I will just reiterate this again for the like 1,000th time, even though it's the header of the chat.
Yeah.
Don't answer questions in the chat room. They're for questions.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
All right. So Ash93 says, don't you think they really overlooked the opportunity to add an amazing squad to the raid? For instance, having Kat as the lead alongside Rex could introduce a new character, additionally including Jesse Vaughn Sterling. I mean, all these are just names to me. Would make perfect sense.
Clones.
I'll take your word for it. I mean, what are we really saying here? What we're really saying here, did CG miss a trick with the teams that we could use?
I think the biggest thing is that people are upset that there's not more thematically correct raid teams for this raid. I think that's the biggest thing that people are upset about when it comes to Order 66, that we are using clones to fight clones, we're using pirates to fight clones, and we're using Bad Batch, who that entire team came out after the
and for some reason Qui-Gon Jinn's just there.
Yeah, well he
died
back
2 films ago. It's fine.
Well, I mean, in fairness, this is Force Ghost Qui-Gon. They just didn't update the title yet. Okay. It's
Side note: can we start getting some Force Ghost Jedi Masters? They can go in the ally slot. So awesome. Instead of a datacron, we can have a Force Ghost Master. It can be Yoda and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn. It'd be great. I mean, it's basically every Jedi that's dead, which is pretty much all of them.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little annoyed. Like, I get where their question's coming from, but like, the kicker on this one is GMY and JMK not allowed in the raid, and I'm like, I get why, but at the same time, like, they are the ones that literally have like a fight, and they used it as promotional footage.
Did they?
For it, they used JMK.
Oh, they did, didn't they? Yeah.
And GMY fighting well, actually, it was the Era battle. It wasn't the assault.
It wasn't the Order 66 raid battle. No.
But they used it as promotional stuff, and I'm like,
No, it wasn't even the Era battle. It was that weird promotional event where you could earn shards of like Ayla and Count Dooku.
Well, no, but you're right. But the footage they had of them in game was from them in the Era battle.
Yeah.
But anyways, that one would have been like the low-hanging fruit for everybody else. But I think CG at some point made the line of like, we really want to just push 4 out of the 5 raid teams are basically all brand new marquee teams, and I feel like somebody.
Hold up. Sorry, what? I've just seen that big deal saying over here that we got him on his birthday, and he scaled it based on subs.
Yeah,
and it ended up being 40 subs for a shot.
So
I'm missing a trick here for $10 for a fucking shot.
Yeah, yes, you are. So
I'm missing a trick
that basically, as you it's like basically it was scaling. So as you unlock the first one, the next one became more expensive. So it was like
10% more expensive.
Well, sort of. It was more of a doubling feature, but it's like it was one. Like, let's just say it was 1 sub to get the first shot, and then it was 2, then 4, then 6, and then like 8, and then 16, and then 32. It scaled up to a degree of like, so he couldn't get like shithoused by like one person dropping 100 subs on him, and then have to take like 80 shots.
Where's the fun in that?
I mean, I think he cares more about his liver than you.
Well, maybe. And I've always said this, he's a more intelligent individual than I am, so...
Well, he has that Lumi on me, so that's clearly...
I've got him there. I do have him there. He does have the Lumi on me, so...
No, I'm saying that's a benefit to him. Like, he's
the fuck?
He's clearly superior because he has the Lumi on me.
I'm winning because he has the Lumi on me. Doesn't matter that he's higher than me in GAC.
As the Lumi on me, I agree with Calvin.
You have every on me, Garth.
Every GAC on me, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Unrelated. Unrelated. That's beside the point. Anyway, yes, they missed a trick. Grogu says Tarkin. No, okay, I already deleted that message.
Yeah, they were responding to somebody else. Which is why.
See, again, that's part of the problem, right? It's like you answer the question, then people answer the answer, and no. Yeah, anyway, last one is from Trent. Exactly. We get to pick 3 tunes to delete from the game. Which one are you picking? Okay, can I preempt this? I'm not going to pick 3. I'm going to pick 1. And nobody can veto this. It's fucking Punishing One. All right? Punishing One is gone. It's disappeared. Gone, done, never to return. I don't care about anything.
I was thinking of like the physical characters, not even the ships. But honest to God, though, for how much it disrupted the meta, and that they've done nothing to fleet meta since its release, I wouldn't fight you on that for anything.
Fuck the Punishing One. Stupid fucking ship. Can die in a hole.
Like, outside of that, I mean, let's not go bottom of the barrel and be like Ugnaught, right?
It would change nothing if you deleted Ugnaught, right? It's gotta have an impact on the game.
Oh man, who would I want to delete for just?
Could I keep on deleting Punishing One like 2 more times? I feel like that's the only viable option here.
I won't fight you on that one.
Yeah.
Just scrolling through, looking for anything interesting that might spring to the top of my list.
I don't even know who else I would delete.
I mean, like deleting, like it's like, do I just have disdain for the character and I don't like the fact that it exists in the game, or is it like,
I mean,
a character that just like would run
at the time, if I was to go back to like 2018, I would be like delete Nest, delete Houndstooth. You know, like those annoying characters that just live forever for no reason. Like
the durability factor was pretty high. Yeah.
And they would just solo your team. I don't want that.
I have like some of these characters which I would love to like, if they were better, they'd be cool. But so I would say, just for like the sake of hitting the reset button on it, delete Cody. Don't give me 212.
Just to give me a new Cody. Yeah.
Yeah, just to give me something 212. Like let's rebring the 212 to the faction.
You would probably be like, delete Scorch. I need Delta Squad, and he's not.
No. Just give me new Delta Squad. That's all. Give me Lightside Delta Squad. But but with with Cody, it's like I'm actually like low key like with McMull on this one. They should like just bring in the 212 under JMK, and then have Lord Vader clones and JMK clones.
Oh, to be light side clones versus dark side clones.
Yeah.
But if they do that, it has to be a hard counter.
Yeah.
It has to be JMK dicks all over it.
They immediately convert all dots into protection up.
Oh my lord! You know what I want to see? I want to see. I want to see a GL, right, whose whole mechanic is, whenever the opponent's team increases their mastery, instead they decrease it by the same amount.
Oh, that would be rough.
But obviously it can't go into negatives, because negatives all of a sudden start fucking up things. But, because you can't go into, negative 10 health. That would just be stupid. It can go down to 0. I want to see that. And I want to see the entire kit being based around triggering mastery gains on opponent GLs. So it's always triggering some sort of, I don't know, turn meter gains.
Poor Ray would get shit on into the floor. Any team that has that can gain turn meter, Ray would be just fried.
Yeah, Ray would be dead immediately.
Don't take her inspired away and keep getting turn meter and just watch Ray get that reduced onto 1 health.
Exactly. Slacker swipes on you and loses all of his crit damage and all of his offense. He just ends up doing 1. You know what I mean? I want to see that. Slacker with Dark Side Vision Ray, constantly losing turn meter all the time, which is supposed to increase their stats, right? It's increasing their mastery, but instead they just lose it. I want to see something stupid like that. It's just I'm just the anti-GL team. But would be shit against normal characters. It would just be shit against normal teams that just don't have any mastery benefits. That would be fun.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. All right. Who else would be fun to delete from the game and rework?
I mean, I at this junction, I just go down the rabbit hole of shitty characters. It's let's rework Kit Fisto, or let's rework
any of the council, the Jedi Council, more or less.
City Jedi characters that are give me a new Plo Koon or whatever, that kind of stuff. That's where everything beyond getting rid of the Punishing One is just I would like you to delete this and then give me a new version. But
I would like them to delete the Punishing One and come up with a shitter version of the Punishing One.
Or give me, dude, somewhere. I must have had a weird dream the other day, because I had a dream, or I think it was a dream. Maybe I was just way too much whiskey. I don't recall.
Sounds like me right now.
But like where they released the Fondor.
The Fondor
for home, yeah, but for Home 1, and
that was definitely a dream, Garth.
Yeah, but it was a menace. Like it was hard countering everything with like.
So what you're saying is you want them to delete and re-release the character that existed in your dreams. I mean that's useful.
Make Home 1 great again. Come on, we need that.
Make Home 1 great again. Hogo. Hogo! Let's make Home 1 great again. Yeah, or a Hogfo. Make Home 1 great for once.
Yeah, it was great back when the Millennium Falcon came out.
When it first came out, yeah, and then Houndstooth turned up, and it was just like, God, this ship's annoying.
Well, no. The Millennium Falcon was designed to counter the Houndstooth because that's what its spell on basic was for. Yeah.
Okay, so the Houndstooth was at one point a very annoying unit.
Yeah, Houndstooth was the epitome of slap that with Negotiator, because Negotiator was the meta at the time. So you slap that with the Negotiator.
But to be fair, you slap it with anything, every ship, every fleet. Well, the Houndstooth, yeah. Houndstooth is the nest of fleets. It just doesn't want to die. It's going to stay there. And it's going to be irritating. Doesn't do any damage, but it's going to always be there.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's irritating when you don't have something that can stop its mechanic, and then once you have something that does, like shock or a buff immunity, then it's like it just melts in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
it's an annoying fleet character. I mean, we got.
More I know one. One. Can we get rid of Dad Bod Boba and make him good?
Oh. Can we get Rancor riding Boba instead of
Boba? He has to be a solo character, but he comes in riding a Rancor.
Yeah, but it's a gel, and he's a one-man team, and you can place him on defense as a one-man team.
Yeah, of course.
I like this. I'm a fan.
We nailed it, guys. We nailed it. That would be a really good change, actually, if CG could let us set undermanned teams on defense.
I don't know what that accomplishes, though.
Let's just put Bane on defense.
Well, that's the only one that I can see right now of being a viable choice. Otherwise, I can't see any real strategic advantage.
Let's put Fennec on defense and do nothing. We could put Dad Bod Boba Fennec on defense with the FTC, and it would be good.
Yeah, that would be fun too. I like that. So much of this stuff with CG some days, man. I tell you what. I tell you what, boy.
Right. Okay. What's the next question? We're out of questions. Yay!
They're interesting questions.
Oh no! Wait a minute. Tren has got 2 other questions.
Multiple
You're
questions.
stuck on an island, Karth, and you have to pick 3 tunes to help you survive. Why is it Ayla, Midriff Padme?
Ayla, Shakti, and Commander Ahsoka Tano.
Obviously, because you couldn't have snips, that would get weird.
Yeah, that would be weird. But they all have those little lacula, whatever, tentacle.
Gelbait, ooh ah.
Yeah,
exactly. So, next question.
Yeah, next question.
Yeah. Yes. Right. Yes. Okay. Unless you've got a soft spot for Hondo. Or Holdo. Hondo or Holdo.
Nope.
Purple hair doesn't do it for you, no? Okay, fine. So
I mean, not even that. I would be fine with the purple hair. Let's just knock her back like 30 years.
Oh, god damn. Anyway, last question then. Prime, Palpatine, Vader, and Maul are coming for you. Okay. You get to pick 5 Jedi to protect you. Anakin is banned. Who are you picking? If you think it's going to be an easy answer, then ban Mace too. So, Palpatine, Vader, and Maul are coming after us, and we can't pick Anakin.
Clearly, you're picking Kenobi because he's the negotiator, and he can probably get Maul and Vader to fight each other.
I mean, clearly you have to pick Rey because she beats Sidious already. So,
and she is technically all the Jedi. So that
she's all of the Jedi.
There.
Exactly. So, yeah, with GK and Rey, I think we're already winning. And then Luke, which is obviously more powerful than all of them.
Yeah,
so
Prime Master Luke,
Yeah, we've cracked the code.
And then I'm taking Galen Merrick because
mid
why not?
mid diff. Because unfortunately, Darth Vader is not the strongest form of Anakin, and Luke was more powerful. So Luke is the chosen one, and then you throw in Rey, and Rey is obviously all of the Jedi, and then you throw in the Negotiator, and if he's not going to win through tactics and cunning, he's going to win through pure suave and sex appeal. So
it's fair. It's 100%
there we go.
fair.
There we go.
I don't
already
mind
won.
the other one, like other female characters, but
Yeah. I mean,
I like to choose, clearly the age appropriate ones.
Are you talking about your desert island again now, Garth? It's like, listen. There's a reason why I didn't take any men.
Someone's giving me grief about picking Ayla again. It's like,
what's wrong with picking bluebies?
Why wouldn't you pick Ayla?
Kat isn't jail, but she's not. Kat isn't 17. She looks about 90. I don't know how old Kat is.
I'm gonna just pretend, okay?
If she's 17, then I change my opinion immediately, because I already had a falling out with Slan about this. So Slan and Zerko and Nightfox are big fans of this game series called Persona, and they particularly like a game series, one of those games called Persona 5, which is like a really popular RPG, like turn-based RPG. And I was like, yeah, I love turn-based RPGs. I'm a big Final Fantasy fan, long-term Final Fantasy fan, loved Clear Obscure, that's all that sort of shit. And I started playing Persona 5, right? But the whole shtick of it is like you're a bunch of school kids, which is quite normal for like an RPG, particularly a JRPG. You're usually a school kid that goes off and saves the world, right? That is quite normal. But the first kind of arc of the story is you're school kids in a school, and the arch villain is basically a pedophile.
Mm-hmm.
So he's there and he wants to sexually assault all the kids in the school.
So
and you're
Catholic school?
You're like, that's kind of creepy for one. I mean, I get it. You're trying to make me hate the villain. Fine, I'm on board. I hate the villain. But in the same vein, like, one of the characters in your team is a 16-year-old girl who transforms into a 16-year-old girl that's wearing a skin-tight leather outfit with her tits popping out. And you're like, why are you sexualizing the 16-year-old girl in my team? Whilst also sexualizing all of the other kids in the game. And I'm like, this feels like... It feels wrong to play. You know what I mean? It makes me uncomfortable to play this game because there's just like... Hey, let's sexualize kids, and I'm like, how about let's not do that. I don't want to do that. Thank you very much. That's just kind of weird, dude.
That is a fair response.
I mean, maybe I'm fucking strange and old-fashioned, but I don't want to sexualize kids in my games. Like, I fucking hate pedophiles. Like, should fucking be burned alive, and then we should all piss on their ashes.
Solution for them.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to I don't want to engage in that. But a lot of people love this game, and I was just like, I couldn't keep playing it. I was just like, this just feels really fucking weird to me.
Yeah, well, it's like those what's those? It's a whole subclass of anime that has been very popular recently, where the female protagonist is like a literal like child, like 8 years old, right?
The fuck? Okay.
But they are something that allows them to live an inordinately long lifespan, like a vampire or whatever else.
Okay, so they're like a 300-year-old 8-year-old.
Exactly. But like for me, like it's still weird. Like I don't care how you want to rationalize it. If that's the body of an 8-year-old, homie, the answer is no.
Yeah, no, that still looks like an 8-year-old. That says a lot. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, that's just fucking weird to me.
I'm not about that.
Yeah, so I couldn't like, it gave me the heebie-jeebies. It gave me the ick, and I was just like, I can't play this game. And like a lot of the game mechanics were fine. A lot of the game mechanics were kind of cool. A lot of the game mechanics I didn't really fucking enjoy, but that one it just kind of threw me off so much. I was just like, this is weird, dude. Like, this is just fucking weird. Like, why do we have a 16-year-old girl in skin-tight leather with the tits popping out? Like, no. How about no?
Some of those,
do you know what I mean?
Some of those are like, yeah. Some of that, it's like, it's the like once you know the context of it, it gets weird. I think at first glance, if you're just playing the game and you don't think about it in that particular fashion, it is. But like, it's the same thing. It's like once you realize that like Ahsoka through the entirety of Clone Wars is a teenager, you're like, I probably shouldn't.
I probably shouldn't.
Let's get some Shakti back on the screen. Some Ayla.
Shakti, motherfucker, must be at least 30. I mean, come on.
She's a Jedi. She's a Jedi Master, so she should be at least a little older. So
well, there you go. Maybe she's in her 40s. She looks good for a 40-year-old. It's fine.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and so it's fine. It's fine. You know, I get it. It's all art. It's all fucking, you know, creative endeavors. I understand that. It's not real. But at the same time, I don't know. It tells me a little bit something about the people that make the game, and maybe a little bit about the people that really enjoy the game. It's like, no, not for me. Not for me.
If I have learned one thing in my life, is that the depth of depravity that can exist within the human population it knows no end, and I am just happy enough not to dive down that rabbit hole.
Well, Johnny, I understand where you're coming from. In the UK, the age of consent is 16. The age of consent in the UK is 16 years old.
It's still weird.
I'm not going to sexualize a 16-year-old. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to look at a 16-year-old kid and be like, damn, I want to bend her over a barrel. No, fuck, dude. I'm 37 years old. If I'm going to have relations with anybody, it's going to be somebody that's age appropriate. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, that's still fucking creepy. It doesn't matter what age of consent is. That's fucking weird. Yeah. In some places in the Middle East, it's legal to marry a 10-year-old. Just because it's legal doesn't make it right. Like, that's just fucking weird, dude.
Yeah, there's a lot of things where it's like, there's just, you can say what you can and can't get in trouble for, but like the older I've gotten, the more I'm like, I understand now why when parents are like, they don't want their 18-year-old daughter dating a 28-year-old man. And I'm like, I understand that now. Like the differences and the type of person that would be interested in that kind of relationship is just like, that's weird. Now, when you start getting like, you know, she's 28 and you're in your 30s, then you start having at least, you know.
It's definitely different. Like you think of like 18 to 28, you're like, that's a little bit weird. But you go 38 to 28, it's like, all right, that's a little bit more acceptable, right? 48 to 38, you're like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, I mean, you look at me and Mrs. Scribbles, all right? She's 9 years my senior.
So
I'm 37. I'm 37.
She's 29. That's what I heard.
Exactly. I mean, I'm 9 years her senior. Yeah, sure. But, you know, like that age gap, it's not an issue, right? But I'm sorry, but somebody who's 16 years old, man, you're a child. You're a child. 18, you are not an adult. You're an adult in the eyes of the law in the UK, but you haven't had life experience. You haven't developed as an adult. You are starting your journey. You should not be getting involved with people older. Yeah, it's just kind of weird.
Yeah, it's just the amount of life that happens to you in that first, like, 18 to 28 span is pretty drastic for a lot of people, and it definitely just changes you. And it's just, you get down to a certain point, like, I get it, it's just a game, it's just something that people play, but like when you start getting obsessive about that kind of material, that's when you know that hey homie, you should check that before it becomes a problem.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's just like a blanket case at all. I'm not saying it's a blanket case, because I know that my dad, you know, he is... So, he's married to somebody that is younger than Mrs. Scribble. All right, so my partner is older than my own stepmother. Like...
That is so weird.
Right? Okay, that's a little bit weird, right?
Yeah, that would be weird. I could not go to family functions like for prolonged periods with that being the case.
It
would feel weird to me.
But the thing is they've been together for like 10 years plus. They're married. They've got 2 kids. It's not like a creepy thing. It's like they're in love. They're an actual family unit. It's not like it's some sort of weird perverse fling that my dad has with younger women. It's just that's how it happened to work out. It was, Yeah. And I just happened to be with someone that's a bit older than me. And that's just how that happened to work out. It doesn't bother me. It's just kind of like when you put it in that context, it sounds kind of weird. But it doesn't bother. I don't give a fuck. Like, I love Mr. Scribble. She's amazing. Like, she's my world, and she makes me a better person type of thing. And that's all I care about. But when you look at it in isolation, it probably looks a little bit weird.
The jokes I could make right now.
I know, right? Half your age plus 7 is the rule. Half your age plus 7. So if you're 20, half your age 17. Would be 10 plus 7 would be 17. That seems okay. I mean, but what if you're 19? Half your age would be 9.5 plus 7 would be 15. A 19-year-old going out with a 15-year-old is not right.
That sounds like somebody who would be getting showed my basement and never leaving.
Yeah, probably. I think there are some exceptions. I think there has to be like a minimum bracket for that, because when you get to 18 would be 9 plus 7 would be 15, and an 18-year-old going out with a 15-year-old is still weird, dude.
So technically speaking, in most states you have like Romeo and Juliet laws where it's like if the relationship is consented by the parents of the daughter, and the age gap is 3 years or under, and one of the parties is over the legal age of 18, then they are still allowed to. But it has to be like we agreed to it and somebody wrote it down. Now, half the time, that's never enforced, but there are some legal loopholes around that. But I mean, anyways. Back to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
Yeah. Back to Star Wars Galaxy. Well, we did all our questions.
We did do all of our questions.
Yeah.
But it's
cool.
It's an hour later than we're normally live.
And I've been drinking constantly.
Yeah. I already texted my wife. I'm like, we need to go get dinner like the second you get home, because I need food.
I need to soak up some of this alcohol that's just chilling over here. I mean, I've been working really hard on the porch. Babe, you remember that thing you asked me to do? Nailed it. It's done.
Hey, I did all of those things before we started today.
See, you're clever, Carthy. You did it first. Yeah, well done. You're not going to try and rush in the last 7 minutes before she comes home. You're like, quick, take out the bins. Sorry, the trash. That's what you guys call it, right?
Well, the trash can, but yeah.
The trash can. Yeah, take out the trash can.
Anyways.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. All right. Great. Tribe, it's been amazing. Good tribe talks, top tribe talks without Wolfie because he's out celebrating his mother's birthday. God, how dare he be a good son? It was something like that, wasn't it, Koth?
He was... I think he was visiting his parent. I don't remember.
Calvin's trying to get a hold of me? All right, let me check my Discord. Hey, Cal. Hey, buddy.
It was
on a call?
Birthday.
Give me 5. Alright, Calvin needs me in 5, so I guess I'll wrap this up and we'll see what Calvin wants.
Probably a Lumi Omni bet.
I am not Ommying my Lumi. Not for nobody. Maybe for
that's
Calvin.
Not true.
Yeah, maybe for Calvin. If you ask, really nice. Alright, cool. Everybody, love you all. Carthrick, we'll see you maybe next Sunday, who knows. Tribe Talks, Electric Boogaloo.
I think my next one that I'll miss is... No, it won't be this Sunday. Sorry, I'll be out of town next week.
Sweet.
It'll be you and Wolfie.
I'm more informed and none the wiser. Great. Cool.
Nice.
Good night, everybody. Love y'all. Bye.